Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream. Tonight we have Bob, Brian, Aaron, and soon Sammy joining us tonight. So first, we'll let you guys introduce yourselves, say what you want to say, and we'll go from there. Someone can start.
Well, I'm Brian, coaster Patrick guy. I don't really do much on there, so this is awesome.
Yeah, I completely forgot about this stream, so I'm using the terrible built-in webcam on my computer, and I look like I'm underwater on my own screen. So, Bob BK photo page on Instagram, X, everywhere else.
I'm Aaron, aka Jersey Devil Aaron, and I work at Jersey Devil.
So tonight we're going to be discussing a few different things. For one, of course, I want to thank you all for 12,000 subscribers. It's kind of what prompted me to do the stream, because I usually try to do it for every 1,000 subscribers. So we're going to do it for this, so thank you guys for that. I also do want to discuss some recent things that have been going on in the coaster community and the industry. One thing I do want to highlight first is Flash vertical velocity and all of the stuff that has been going on with that, because we went from knowing pretty much nothing about the coaster to knowing a ton about the coaster. So I'm going to pull the blueprint up real quick for you guys, just so I have a frame of reference here. But while I'm doing that, you guys can feel free to send some questions in the chat, and we'll get to them once we finish our discussions here. But first, let me share this screen with you guys. Let's see. Not it. There it is. All right. So this is definitely not what I was originally expecting with Flash in terms of the queue setup, the plaza. I was not expecting this at all. I kind of figured that the picnic area over here would be completely renovated into like a new plaza, and that you'd enter next to Cyborg's real entrance over here, and the ride would be pushed back a little more. So I didn't think it was going to stretch this far into Old Country. I thought it would be set back a little more. But I'm really curious what you three think about what you thought was going to be the situation here with Flash, how you thought it was going to be laid out.
I don't have an opinion on this because I am not local and I had no idea. So
Fair.
Okay, I guess I thought where the turnaround is, where you do like the non-inverting dive loop, would be more back, but that is gonna be like right next to like the new like family restrooms that they put in this year. So it's
Yeah,
gonna be like
it's
a weird
pretty
angle
close.
that you're gonna see it.
Yeah, no, I thought it was gonna push back more.
Which way?
To the parking lot. I didn't think it'd be that far into the park.
Yeah, I think it's like, honestly, I think it's a pretty weird decision that they're deciding to just kind of fence it off right along here where the catering area is, and they're going to keep the whole catering area. Because honestly, I very rarely see the front half of the catering area used at all. So either they want to save this for future expansion room because they really cram this in here. I mean, they're barely using any space to make Flash, which I think is pretty cool. But I don't know. I'm still very surprised with it. I'm very excited, of course. We're going to be following the construction closely as it goes. But that was my little offshoot here about Flash. So we're going to see if you guys have any questions in the chat, unless you guys have any topics you want to discuss. Oh, actually, forgot. Top Thrill 2 has started testing way earlier than I think anyone was expecting. So I want to go to you first, Bob, because obviously you're a local to Cedar Point.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Top Thrill 2? You think it's going to be better than Dragster? What do you think about it?
It's tough. Like, it won't ever simulate the hydraulic launch. I mean, if you've ridden that or you've ridden King to Ka, I mean, you know how intense, and even though it can be rough a little bit, I mean, you know how different it is. I think it's going to be very cool. It's just going to be a completely different type of experience with, obviously a much smoother launch and more gradual, and it'll be cool. I mean, I don't think it's going to be better in my opinion, but I mean, I think people that either didn't ride Dragster or didn't have a lot of rides on Dragster might think it's better, which is fine. I mean, we got to see, Tony showed us a lot of stuff at our holiday party for the Coaster Club that hadn't been seen yet before this week, and he had already told us had already been doing a lot of testing. It just hadn't done the full circuit one until this week. He showed us like the switch track for it and everything else and things like that. They haven't built the control station yet above the, up above that they had gotten the permit for yet, but like I told you about a month ago that they had said they wanted to have it testing before the end of the year, and we both kind of went, yeah, right, but apparently they did.
Have you seen it?
That's great.
Have you test?
I've seen the videos. I'm like an hour away, so I haven't been out. I was out there last weekend, but they weren't doing anything yet, so no, I haven't been directly. Colin, somebody in the chat said check the mic you're using. Are you not using
Yeah, I just fixed it. Sorry about that, guys.
Right.
Should be better now. So, Brian, you got anything to add about Top Thrill 2?
It should be interesting. It's still not going to be the original Dragster or anything real close to it, but I kind of expected the way they were putting that together. You kind of had a feeling, at least by the end of this year, it was going to do some testing.
I did ask Tony during the Q&A. I asked him. I didn't think he would answer me, but I asked him if before the accident, if there were already talks about redoing it in some way, not necessarily what we're getting, but like changing it or whatever because of how unreliable it was. And he said, actually, the short answer is no. He said it was by far the most expensive ride in the park to maintain, but he said they were not talking about anything at the time yet for it.
Kind of makes sense.
I don't know. I feel like the accident, I would have thought that the accident would have had less of an impact on their total plans for like completely redoing the ride. Because, I mean, from the get-go, it's been super problematic, obviously.
Yeah, he said that, and I thank you to Tony if he ever comes across this video for actually answering that question. And he had said that throughout the whole process, while the lady was obviously in the hospital recovering all that, they said that discussions didn't start till very, very late in the process. Like they didn't know if they were going to just tear it down or do something with it. And he said they could have had just a big empty plot for a while, or they could try to change it in some way. And I don't think there was much else they could have done with it. Obviously, they could have done other different elements and things, but if they were going to make it like, LSM launched and different, I mean, this was kind of the way they had to go almost.
From what I've heard, if the accident never happened, 2021 would have been the last year for Dragster.
And it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. But this kind of, gave them... Does this reset the clock for, like, their new coaster? So now they have, like, a few years.
Yes, but I still think, I mean, and again, I have no inside information, but I still think Snake River Falls is on the way out, and I think they're going to use all that land for where Forbidden Frontier was, and they need to build another wood coaster. They need a GCI or a Gravity group back there. I would love a GCI like down through the woods, a low to the ground Mystic Timbers type. Even I doubt they would put in that dueling one that they showed a few years ago, but something back there, like in the woods, so not to rival like Beast and Voyage and stuff like that, but just so they have something like that.
I feel like Cedar Point could really benefit from extreme mock coaster, whether it be like an extreme spinner or a striker coaster or just a
They're
regular.
always screwed by capacity, though. No matter what
That's
they
true.
add, it has to have tons of capacity.
But say they got something like Helix. Helix has pretty good capacity. It's 24 riders per train, 3 trains. I mean, that's a
Can we
pretty
get like
standard.
can we get like an extreme spinner though? That's like Hagrid's with like 7 block sections, so we can just launch train after train after train over and over again.
That would be nice. But I mean, I think that the next kind of expansion area, I think Top Thrill 2 is kind of just the start of it. I have a feeling that Corkscrew is going to get ripped out at some point. I know it's really historic, but at the same time, it's getting old. It doesn't get the same ridership it used to, and it takes up a pretty prime spot of land. And they already moved those 2 rides that are towards the end of Corkscrew over to the boardwalk. There's a giant expansion plot right there.
Prior to I mean, we don't know how long the merger talks were going on, but like prior to any of that happening, they had already had permits to move the offices to the sports complex down the street, like next to the baseball complex. So it makes me wonder if they're going to knock down the office building there too. Although I think that's pretty new, but I mean, within the last like 20, 25 years type new, but that would also open up some space over there too. So I'm sure there's lots of things in the works, especially going to be now with the merger and things, and we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting.
I think Cedar Point is going to kind of pick the path they're going to go down in the next couple of years, whether they're going to go more for like the coaster direction where they want to be like this big coaster thrill park, or if they're going to take a step back and go more for the resort approach. I have a feeling.
Well, that's what they've been doing since we met was Matt Wimet was the guy in charge, because he brought like the Disney approach, and that's when they started keeping, if you keep people on site, most of the time they're coming from out of town, so they're going to buy food, they're going to, spend more money, things like that. And that's why like you see the kind of the pass holder perks like have dwindled so badly over the last couple of years too, because pass holders typically aren't spending very much money when they have, their food passes and their drink passes and all that stuff ahead of time. Coaster Joe, I saw what you said in the chat about Corkscrew. I think that if they get rid of it, I want them to keep the corkscrews over the midway though, like just because that's iconic. And I would hope they would do something like that.
I think that'd be cool. There's not a lot of parks, a couple of parks that have done that with their Aero corkscrew models too. So kind of going off what you said, Bob, do you think that once the merger goes through that they're going to continue in that direction with all the parks in the chain with the more resort approach? Because actually something I spotted today at Great Adventure, if you guys follow me on or are friends with me on Facebook and you're in Great Adventure Connoisseurs, you might have saw this. I can't really show it to the screen that well, but there's a new logo for Great Adventure that I just spotted at the park. It says Six Flags Great Adventure Resort, theme park, water park, safari, and glamping. So that's the first time this has ever been seen at the park. I've never seen a logo before until today. So that kind of makes me wonder if this is just kind of like the start and if they're going to keep doing this across the whole chain, because obviously you have Cedar Point, that's a resort. You have Great Escape, that's technically a resort. Darien Lake could be pushed as a resort. So I'm really curious if that's the path they're going to go down with all the Six Flags parks, or if they're just going to do it with a few of them.
I think they'll push it more, all the parks to be more resorts.
Yeah,
they spend the money.
Yeah, and we were talking, I think we talked about this last time I was on with you guys about how they're going to change the pass structure. Like, I wonder if they're going to go like regional, or another thing I thought would be interesting is if they like did a thing where you could like, you have all these parks, however many there's going to be, like where it's like, oh, here's this dollar amount. You can pick 7 parks to have on your pass or something like that too. But, based on geographic, rather than them set the boundaries of, oh, here's the, the Midwest region pass, and here's the, West region, whatever it is, something like that too. I doubt they'll do that. I think they'll just make it really simple probably, because it seems like Cedar Fair tended to go very simple with theirs, and Six Flags you had to like have a hieroglyphics to decipher every other year when they changed it. But that'll also be interesting. I'm sure the all park pass will be much more expensive.
I'm sure that'll be at least 600, at least, probably more.
I
I
don't
think
know
you'd be looking more like Disney prices for like an all park pass, maybe.
But then again, you're getting what 40 properties versus 4, so I think it'd be worth it.
But how many people are actually going to all those parks and tons of parks every year? I mean, it's a very small percentage of their overall attendance.
Yeah, it's very true.
Really, I think like Bob said, with the pick, hey, you can pick 6 parks for this price. Like that would be really the go-to, because then you can just pick your region parks, and it's like, oh, I plan to go to California this year or whatever, and you can pick the California parks. Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. Is like if you left to live in the Bay Area, let's say CGA is gone or something. Well, it's not that you say CGA is gone. Let's just say it's there. If you don't travel, but those are your 2 parks, you should be able to pick just those 2 parks or something, or the California pass, and you get the other 2 down south or whatever, something. I mean, I want to see if they put options and things like that. I really don't think there's going to be that much change for the first few years of it until they start really. They're not just going to come in and overhaul the entire thing in 2025. I don't think, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm really curious, like how gradual of an approach they're going to take, because obviously there's going to be some change made in 2025. They're not just going to do nothing. I'm sure that they're probably going to implement that new pass system, and they're probably going to start doing some rebranding. Like whatever rebranding they're going to do, they're going to start it then. So I'm really curious, like how they're going to market the parks, because obviously they don't want to keep the Cedar Fair parks and Six Flags parks having separate identities. If they're calling the entire chain Six Flags, that tells me they want brand synergy across all the properties. So they're probably going to put the Six Flags name somewhere in the property.
Like I said, I think the major parks, like it'll be like Cedar Point, a Six Flags park, Knott's Berry Farm, a Six Flags park, like that. I don't think they're going to call it Six Flags, whatever.
No.
yeah, no, the big parks are not going to change the name that much. They'll have it small because everyone knows what it is. You're not just going to completely rebrand something and throw everyone off and like, oh, well, I thought it was this park.
That has me kind of wondering too, with this whole thing with Great Adventure now being marketed as a resort. Are they going to consider changing the names of some of these bigger parks, like Great Adventure, for example, instead of Six Flags Great Adventure Resort, just call it Great Adventure, a Six Flags Resort, and then you have the theme park, water park, blah blah blah. They could do the same with Magic Mountain, Fiesta Texas. I mean, Fiesta Texas pretty much is only known as Fiesta Texas. They don't always use the Six Flags branding with it. So, I really hope they drop the heavy Six Flags branding with the names of their current parks, and they kind of make it to a lesser extent, kind of like how Great Escape was and Darien Lake was for a little while too.
That's a double-edged sword, because I feel like you're hurting yourself in the branding by taking that away, but at the same time, you don't necessarily need it anymore because you're really not competing with anybody, to be honest, at this point. I mean, you are like the monopoly of theme parks now.
Speaking of the whole monopoly topic, I have heard rumblings that SeaWorld has been lobbying to get, I guess, the government to overturn the merger because, of course, they see it as a monopoly. So do you guys think that SeaWorld's going to have any effect on the merger going through, or do you think it's going to go through no issue?
I think it'll go through.
Probably go through, no issue.
I think SeaWorld will put up a fight, but I think it's going to go through at the end of the day.
Didn't SeaWorld make an overture to buy the thing a few years ago?
They did.
So they can piss off then.
Exactly. I don't know. I feel like the merger as a whole, like having that many parks come together at once, I wouldn't be surprised if they had to sell off, like say they came to like an ultimatum, like, all right, you can either do no merger or you can do the merger and sell 2 parks or 3 parks from each chain and call it a day. That way it evens it out a little more, because Six Flags is going to have a giant monopoly on the U.S. theme park market. It's going to be ridiculous. SeaWorld's
makes me wonder if they're going to not like renew their leases for like Frontier City, Darien Lake, stuff like that anymore either.
That's true, because they do not own them. They just operate them.
Well, they don't need them at that point.
No.
Yeah, no, I can see them not renewing them. That they'll just let part separate ways.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So unless you guys have any other topics, I'm going to start perusing through the chat's questions here. I did see a few pretty good questions.
Honestly, it's not much of anything, but has anyone ever checked out Ryan the Ride Mechanics channel?
Yes.
Whoever's not subscribed to it, watch it. It's a really good channel.
Really goes very in depth on the behind the scenes of the amusement park industry and the more mechanical side of it. It's a really good channel.
Yeah, no, he worked for 14 years. He was a ride mechanic at a park, and
Yeah.
he knows his stuff. It's very interesting, and I'm assuming everyone watching this would definitely be into it. So, if you're not
Definitely.
subscribed, go. Ryan, the ride mechanic.
So I'm going to start off with this question here. Too bad Sammy isn't here yet because this question is perfect for Sammy. I have a question that's a little off topic. What do you think about thrill coaster tours, or TCT? I know Sammy went on a trip or two with them. Personally, I prefer to do my own trips and route it the way I want to. That also comes from the fact that we've been doing this for 6 years and we've gotten a pretty good grasp on how to schedule these road trips and buy the hotels at a good price, get the admission. But if you haven't done this before, thrill coaster tours or any other tour group that does coaster trips, definitely a great option because it's very easy to get in over your head when planning a road trip and screw everything up and have a miserable time. This group
Well,
and all
you
the
don't
other
have to
groups,
worry about anything either if you let them do the
Exactly.
planning for you. That's the other part of it too. So
saves a
I
lot
mean,
of hassle.
yeah, I would have had the exact same response. I mean, I like planning my own thing, and we've all made our mistakes of planning and things, and we gotten, you got screwed over Texas that time, and I've been screwed by different things and stuff like that. But it's if you have the time and the money and the patience, do it yourself. But if you're nervous about it, or if you're nervous about traveling alone, or whatever the reason is, or you don't want the hassle, by all means, go with them.
Where you guys stand on that?
I haven't done one of them, but like you said, if you're nervous about it and you're not good traveling, or if you're going by yourself and you just don't want to do it by yourself, go ahead, sign up with it. Make new friends, and they'll guide you around.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna do it in 2020, but obviously it was canceled because of COVID. But I was like this close to doing it.
I know Coaster Crew and Ace, they do similar style trips, but you kind of still have to do your own degree of planning. You still have to get the hotels, do the flights and everything. But these groups, they just do it all together. So definitely keep that in mind if you're looking to get to some new parks.
When Ace does the European trips, does that still you have to book your own, or is that like?
I think you have to get there, and then once you're there,
they take you in a bus.
They take you everywhere else and whatnot, and then
that's what I thought, that the Europe trips and everything that they do, the overseas, were a little bit more. They guided you.
This is a good question here. What would your dream theme park look like? So I'm going to reverse the order. We can start with Aaron and then make our way back up.
Okay, probably Intamin Prefab, right? A mock. Wait, models, or should I say coasters? Because
just do models.
Yeah. Okay. Mock Extreme Spinner, like Ride to Happiness. Like a Twister B&M Hyper, like Raging Bull. Probably an S&S compressed launch coaster. Like a Premier Spaghetti Bowl. That'd be cool. And like some kid ride. And I think that's all I can think of right now, but those are what I would like to see.
My dream park, I would just take Busch Gardens, Tampa, Silver Dollar City, and Dollywood, put them all together. That has every ride model. It has the atmosphere, food, everything.
I want like the theming of like Islands of Adventure, Fantasia Land, and Tokyo Disney Sea, but with like lots more coasters, like Energylandia numbers of coasters, but like good ones. Like, I mean, obviously they have good coasters, but like all good ones. I'm not gonna go deep into there because it would take forever to list all that out. But some kind of crap I'd build in like Planet Coaster, and it would never be possible in real life.
Let's see. Personally, I would definitely want to have aspects of Islands of Adventure in there with the theming, especially for like Jurassic World and the Harry Potter lands. The theming there is impeccable. You definitely need a coaster like Velocicoaster, your good multi-launch blitz coaster that kind of does everything. You need your RMC to get all that crazy airtime. You need like a classic wooden coaster that's kind of focused on laterals. You need a good mock coaster, whether that be an extreme spinner or a standard one like Helix. You're definitely going to need your fair share of looping coasters. But personally, I think most of like the B&M looping coasters are kind of bland and generic because they all do the same thing. So if you're going to get an invert, get something that's really intense and focuses on its intensity as opposed to the inversions. Get a dive coaster that does not have vest restraints because those are great. And then honestly, I would be focused on the flat rides too. So get a Scream and Swing in there, get flyers in there, get the Sky Roller in there, Gersauer Sky Roller, Giant Discovery, all that. Make something good out of it. Let's see. Saw Sammy at the park running Nitro. Got his hype. I think he's still there running Nitro right now. Is a loop going to be right next to the entrance to the park? So not really. When you go into Great Adventure, I'm presuming you're talking about Flash. You'll have the fountain in front of you. You make a right, and where that basketball game is, before you make the path, take the path to Cyborg, you're going to see it right there. That non-inverting dive loop element is going to be right there. So it's definitely going to have a presence towards the front of the park. It's going to completely change all the sight lines too. Like from Nitro, when you're looking out, you're going to see Flash standing really tall there. Skyway is going to look completely different. Everything's going to look really different. What is your number one concern going into Great Adventure's 50th anniversary celebration? Honestly, my biggest concern is that not everything is going to be ready. They have a lot on their plate, and they really don't have much time to do it. I mean, the park literally reopens in 3 months on March 16th. That's the earliest, or 4 months, whatever it is. That's the earliest it's ever opened in my memory. I'm sure it's opened in March in years past, but they've never had this much to do over the off season, and they haven't gotten too much done yet. I'm pretty sure that a lot of the crew was just working on getting the Hurricane Harbor slides installed, so that was out of the way as far as I know. So I'm guessing now they're probably going to start working a little more on the other stuff. I mean, just looking around at the projects they have going around in the park, of course, the big one is Flash. You have the giant wheel. You have log flume. You have the brick path. You have the new path going from Toro to Ka. You have all the double-sided lockers that have been mentioned. You have lots of paint that I'm sure is going to be done. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that needs to be done. And hopefully we'll see a museum, all the festival stuff that we don't know about quite yet. So there's a lot on their plate. And honestly, I don't know if they're going to have enough time to do it. I'm hoping for the best, but I would imagine in March, not everything is going to be open. They're going to have as much as they can have open, but I highly doubt everything will be ready.
Honestly, I think my number one concern might be capacity of some of the coasters. Like I'm thinking El Toro is probably going to be on one train. Okay, the Ka might be on two. Future is probably going to be on one. And it's the 50th. A lot of people are going to be there. So lines would be my number one concern.
I think piggyback off with Colin. My concern is getting everything open on time, but that's when they announced the events, isn't it June? They're saying the 50th anniversary.
June through August.
So honestly, as long as Log Flume opens in June, like they have a couple more months to try and get everything ready by June.
It's true.
So they're not. It's not going to be ready for March, but as long as it's ready for June, then they're fine because that's when the big celebration is.
Bob, obviously you don't go to Great Adventure as much as we do, but you've seen a lot of.
My biggest concern is that they're not going to be ready, and Colin's going to bitch a lot and complain about it, and not have to listen to him.
Well, you're going to hear that either way. So.
Yeah, I know, but.
From your experience with like watching Cedar Point and Kings Island get ready for their anniversaries, because they obviously did a lot. They didn't add new rides, but they did a whole lot of festivals and just sprucing up of the parks. So from like the year prior, say like, I guess, what would that be, 2021 at Kings Island towards the end of the year, did you see them doing prep work already, or did they wait?
I mean, they didn't like have anything. They weren't putting any stuff out or anything like that, but I knew through the grapevine and through talking to like Don and people at the time that they had big plans and they were behind the scenes getting ready for it. With Cedar Point, I remember they had, when we went to Winter Chill Out, they had all the parade floats already ready to go in storage right outside the park in the big like makeshift tent that they had. They had a lot of the decorations ready to be put up and things as soon as the weather broke and stuff like that. So they were on top of the game. Obviously, they got kind of screwed over by COVID, obviously, so they had to push theirs back, to like it was going to be a 2-year celebration anyways, but then they pushed it back some, obviously, because they had to open later and things like that. So I think it got scaled back slightly from what it was supposed to be, but it still was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I was very impressed when I got to see both Kings Island and Cedar Point's anniversary celebrations. And obviously, they didn't have as much on their plate as Great Adventure does. Great Adventure's not only doing all the festival stuff, they're also adding a new coaster and refurbishing 2 classic attractions. So
I still wish they would have like made a bigger deal about like even just like posting pictures from the past. Remember the Valraven wall with here's what we added in each of these years. Just doing that with like in this decade we did this, in this decade we did this, something like that. And with when they had closed Town Hall and then they put that project, on the on the shelf basically, there really hasn't been that since Town Hall's been closed. Like they just don't do anything about the past, and it sucks. And even Kings Island really didn't do much about the past when they had their anniversary. It was just more about, hey, it's the 50th, blah blah blah.
I hope Great Adventure, because we've had this in discussions in passing and everything. I think it'd be really cool to see, like, say on El Toro's sign next year, you also put Viper and Ultra Twister because those rides were there. You put Rolling Thunder's sign somewhere where its entrance is, which it's still there. I think just seeing like all the old rides that are in the
Yeah,
parks,
it would be really cool if they had like an
get
old school
swapped around.
picture of it. I'm sorry for interrupting you. Like here was once Rolling Thunder with like a picture of the layout or something, like an old picture of it or an old picture of a train or something like that. I think that's what you're saying, like getting at that. I think that would be really cool if they put not only those around the park, but also obviously near where those things were and stuff like that, which I know isn't going to always be able to be perfect, but they could do something like that. Because I'm sure, like, I know that, like, I was part of a team that was working on a documentary for Kings Island that got shelved, but, like, when we showed the first trailer at Coaster Stock the one year, there were people, like, crying, like, after all the old footage and stuff. Like, people care, like, especially, like, the people that grew up there and things like that for the nostalgia, and it would be really cool to see that and embrace that, and I hope they do, because a lot of parks just don't do that.
Yeah, you're right. I'm like seeing in my head now, like, that path between Toro and Medusa, how you have that nice view of Toro. Well, if you on the end there, closest to Toro's cable lift, if you put like a giant mural for like Ultra Twister there, because Ultra Twister was right there. Then like on the other side, you put like a picture showing what Viper used to look like with the queue, set up like a Wild West saloon and everything. Because there's a lot of really cool history there.
Can you text your boy right now and tell him that he should do this?
He's heard it all. Trust me. We've shared all the ideas. Another idea, actually, now I'm thinking about it, I think Justice League really needs a scoreboard outside the ride like what Hershey has with Cup Fusion, because obviously it's a very competitive game at the park. And to have like a leaderboard there and see everyone's picture or whatever with the score, I think that'd be really cool. But of course, they have to upkeep on the maintenance of the ride, which I know is difficult. It's a very, very involved attraction. But I know we spent a lot of time on that question. Obviously, the 50th is kind of at the top of everyone's mind right now as we go into the off season. We're getting ready to see all the prep for it. But let's see. Next up here, you sat behind me on Medusa. I saw you going down the queue, but I was too scared to say hi. Don't be scared to say hi. Just say hi next time. Let's see. If you could add one coaster to Great Adventure, what would it be? I'll let you guys go first.
I mean, I'll say something like Zadra, something I haven't been on. No. Add Ijanika just so that I don't have to go to Japan to ride it.
Or to California for X2.
Yeah. And get screwed out of riding it because, we got there too early.
Yeah. And they only won one train.
I would say a GCI Woody.
I would say a Ride to Happiness clone.
Yeah, you took right out of my mouth. That's what I was going to say. Either that or an Intamin Blitz, something that's multi-launch and focuses on airtime and inversions. That would be perfect for the park. Something heavily themed, too. They definitely need some heavily themed rides. Should Great Adventure add a Kid Flash clone in the area where the Northern Star Arena is? If they did that, I think every coaster enthusiast would riot against the park. That is one of the most prime plots of land for some massive roller coaster. I mean, the amount of rumors that have gone on about what could replace the arena is pretty insane. All I can say right now is just be ready for 2025.
I would say do both because that's low enough and small enough. You could still work a big coaster around it.
Well, I think they also have to keep an eye on what's going on with Georgia and Texas's right now because they're both closed. I'm guessing there's a mechanical issue since they're both closed, so we're gonna have to wait and see what happens there.
Already?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Although
Yeah,
I gotta give Fiesta
happened?
Texas
It went
props
down.
because Jeff posted on Facebook that they're adding thematic elements to the queue while it's closed so they can make it look better for when it reopens. I don't know what happened. I don't want to make guesses either. Obviously, the wheel assembly is very different than a lot of other coasters since the upstop and guide wheels, I'm pretty sure, are combined on that attraction. It only has 2 sets. So that could have something to do with it, but I don't know. To me, classic Skyline. Thoughts on the BGW leak? So let me pull this up now for those of you who don't know what this is in reference to, because this whole thing has a lot of history, and BGW fans did a really good job creating this article on it. So right here is what they're predicting is going to be the 2025 coaster. So I know most people that have seen this are super disappointed about it. Personally, I'm really disappointed too. This plot is where Drachenfire used to be. Of course, back during COVID, there was the rumors about it being Drachenspire, and supposedly that almost happened. It was like super close to actually going through, and then last minute they canceled it. There have also been thoughts of a RMC going here. That's what I personally was expecting. Supposedly that also got pretty far along, and then they decided not to do it. They had filed giant height waivers too. I think the first one was well over 300 feet. The second one was over 200 feet. So they had plans for a giant coaster to go here, and now it's been shrunk down to basically an extended version of Phoenix Rising at Busch Gardens Tampa, which personally I think for this space in the park is really unfortunate because this is by far one of the most exciting expansion plots they have. I mean, there's so much room for what you could do with it, and to kind of, in my opinion, waste it on something like this, I think is sad. I mean, you could definitely see here there's still more room for them to build around it. They, of course, have to watch out for the train. But I don't know. I just don't think this is the right decision. What do you guys think?
I hate leaks. So, I mean, I like being surprised, and it seems like we're never surprised anymore. So it just drives me crazy. But yeah, it's a huge letdown considering all the stuff that has been rumored over the last 3 or 4 years and all the plans they've come across and things like that.
Yeah, it's whatever. Another family coaster, hooray! Yeah.
Yeah. Brian?
I was looking forward to like an RMC, like Iron Gwazi, to go in there, but I think it's still a good addition. I think it'll do well at the park. You know, it gives them time to build something even bigger.
That's true. I mean, when you look at their lineup, all they've been adding other than Pantheon recently is family coasters. So I think they've more than gotten family coasters at this point. They have Invader, they have Rebolton, they have Dark Coaster. I mean, I'm sure this will be nice for the kids, but at the same time, another coaster for the thrill seekers would definitely be the better route, in my opinion. If you alternate between thrill seeker coaster, kids coaster, I think that's a better balance than doing 2 family coasters in a row like that. And honestly, the coaster they really need most in their lineup is an RMC because they already have a Blitz, they have an invert, they have a dive. So other than that, I mean, it's either like a mock extreme spinner or an RMC. So hopefully they'll get that eventually. And of course, this isn't definite. This is BGW fans' best guess. They're usually very accurate. So I'm going to believe this right now. They actually were dead on with Dark Coaster. They even predicted the name. So personally, I think this is probably what it's going to wind up being, which is pretty unfortunate in my opinion. I've always wondered, why King the Cod trains are always so squeaky going in and out of the station. Brian might know.
I never really got an answer. I didn't even ask that question. I know it's just they're a tight bend and they're going over slow, and that would be my guess.
They probably just got to spray some WD.
By the way, did you know that the Top Thrill 2 trains are all milled from one piece? They're not like linked together. I didn't know that until he told us at the party. I was like, that is really cool.
I'm curious how it's actually going to improve the maintenance on the ride, if it's actually going to save them time and money or if it's just a gimmick.
Well, no, because they have to do that NDN. Was it the?
Oh yeah, the non-destructive.
Yeah, they have to do that testing to the chassis in the off season. That's one less thing they got to do now to maintain those chassis.
That's true. Let's see. Colin, is your injury getting better? Kind of. I can't really say, honestly. I'm still in the wheelchair at the park, so if you see me, chances are I'll be sitting in the wheelchair, presumably till the end of the year. Supposedly, I'm allowed to take the boot off on my foot come Christmas morning. Right now, I'm not sure if I really want to do that because there's still a lot of pain, but we'll see. Chances are, though, I'm probably going to be stuck not being able to ride certain rides and not being able to walk around the park until March 16th, 2024.
Cripplewood Studios.
Yeah, what can I say? Where are the tents for the new site in relation to the animals? Here, let me pull it up on Google Maps real quick to show you. I know they do have it on the blueprints, but I think it's easier if I just do this. So,
Can you also, while you have Great Adventure open, show me where the new coaster is going? Because I still don't understand this layout, like based on the blueprint.
All right, yeah, I'll pull it up. All right, let me get myself to Great Adventure here. All right, so that is the park right there. This is the Wild Safari entrance right here. So you, of course, come all the way through here. Camp Aventura is where it's going to be located. So you can actually, when you look at the blueprint and you look at this, you can see exactly how they're fitting it in. They're not really changing any of the roads. The tents are going to be all in this grassy area, and the buses are going to drop you off, or the Jeeps, whatever you use, are going to drop you off right here. So that's where it is in relation to everything else. It's almost all the way in the back of the safari, way back here in the woods. So, Bob, for your question here about Flash, so the entrance, now obviously that's Cyborg. Entrance is going to be right here. Where my cursor
okay,
is.
so off to the right, there's the main entrance.
Yeah, this is the main entrance right here.
Okay.
The coaster is going to stretch all the way out to like here. So all these buildings in here, that's from Aftermath, the Fright Fest maze. That all got knocked over. So
Is this that stretch. Is this where that fence was that we were walking by looking through when we were there? Okay, I know exactly what we're talking
and
about.
This is where the Arboretum is right here.
Yeah,
so that's
going
to be moved over here now. And Flash's station is going to be like around here. The first element's there, and it's just going to stretch down here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, for whoever asked the question, that is where not Camp Aventura, Savannah Sunset will be. So next question. I'm concerned about the new Flash coaster Great Adventure not being big person friendly with the vest harness. Do you think it will be big person friendly? So I haven't ridden any new gen Vekomas. Actually, no, I have. I've ridden the little ones, but actually no, those don't have vests. Those are just the lap bars. I have ridden Vekoma SLCs and Vekoma Boomerangs that have the new vests, as well as a regular Vekoma looping coaster. I'm pretty sure the new gen Vekoma trains are a little different than those. I think you sit a little higher, but the vests are really comfortable. They are kind of tight. I'm not going to lie. They do sit pretty tight on you. So I wouldn't really be able to say how big person friendly they're going to be. If you've ridden a ride like what nearby has vest restraints, think Joker, but a little tighter. That's my best summary. What do you guys say?
I think they might be all right. I don't know. I think the trains at least look like it'll be a little more forgiving.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on how tight the vests are. Like, if you think of like a Val Raven, which is like going to suffocate you, versus some of the newer ones. Like, I remember riding, what is it? Great Nor'easter has ones that are real, like loose and comfortable. So if they're forgiving like that, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm thinking if you'll fit in like a B&M invert restraint, you'll probably fit in one of the Vekoma ones.
Though keep in mind that Flash does have a minimum height requirement of 48 inches. So they're trying to get smaller kids on there. So it is going to have tighter dimensions. Though then again, Jolly Rancher Remix and all the other Boomerangs and stuff, they're 48 inches too. So we'll see. I rode Joker Great Adventure, and I actually think it's a really good ride. You guys like Joker? I rode it 3 times in a row today. So I'd say I like Joker. It's very inconsistent. Sometimes you'll get a ride that does absolutely nothing. It's a glorified rocking chair. And other times you get a ride that's probably the most intense ride in the park. So it's all over the place.
It's very weird, like, and you can vouch for this too because you've been on most of them as well. The 2 Batman ones are so much more intense than the Joker ones. It's very strange. Like, the Fiesta Texas one, and especially, I mean, we flipped like crazy on the Discovery Kingdom one, the one ride we had. So it's very, I don't know. It's, yeah, you're right. It's very, obviously you get a different ride every time, but sometimes it's horribly disappointing, and then sometimes you flip a lot.
I don't care for it. If there's no line, sure. But like you said, you'll get a ride where you make a half a flip, or sometimes you'll get 4 flips. But they supposedly, when it opened, it was supposed to have a good, one side was going to be more intense than the other. But if anyone remembers from Media Day on Joker, one got
stuck
upside down, and they tightened all of them. Because you can adjust the brake, like it puts friction on it to slow down the flipping. So they had to turn up the friction on them.
Yeah, because that was the one at Discovery Kingdom where they sent us to the back side of it because they said it flipped more for the video.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, I don't think it's terrible. It's probably like the hardest coaster in the park to marathon. Like, I've done it 6 times in a row, and then like I was really dizzy. But it's not terrible. You just gotta like get a good ride to enjoy it.
It depends on the ride you get, though. Like, I've been able to ride it like 8-10 times in a row, but I wasn't getting the most super intense rides. But if you're getting super intense rides every time, it kills you. But I do know that each of the free spin models are kind of set at a different intensity level. Like, to me, the worst one I've ridden is easily the one at New England. It does nothing, in my opinion. And you can see from the different off-rides and everything of them, certain ones have more fins than others. Like Great Adventures, for example, there's fins on the lift hill that make you flip on your way up. At a lot of the other parks, that's not there. I'm pretty sure Discovery Kingdoms didn't have that. I don't think the 2017 Jokers have that either. But I do know that the most intense one by far is the one in Japan at Nagashima Spa Lane. That has like the absolute max number of fins. So when you go through that, you're just flipping nonstop, endlessly, which looks unbelievable. And then you have others like Tumbili, for example, which I think is probably the worst one. Well, other than Joker at New England, where it barely flips, it slows you down, or sometimes you'll have a really good ride. So they're kind of
Tumbili was awful.
I had one good ride and one really bad ride. So this is back to our rebranding question about Six Flags parks. St. Louis over Georgia over Texas and America would kind of struggle if they cut the Six Flags branding off. I think that would be the ones that they would keep as Six Flags St. Louis, Six Flags over Georgia. Those aren't really like the big parks of the chain anyway. If they were to drop Six Flags branding, at least as being the forefront of the name, I would see it really in only the bigger parks. So think like Great Adventure, Magic Mountain, Great America, Fiesta Texas, maybe a couple more, and that's it. Do you think Kingda Ka is going to get reimagined? I think Great Adventure is definitely, well, I would say Six Flags, but Six Flags owns Cedar Point now. Well, they will. I think they're definitely watching Top Thrill 2 very closely. And honestly, I think when the companies do merge, that would increase the chances of it happening to Ka. Ka is much more reliable than Dragster was, just because it had a couple more years in the oven and it was engineered a little differently. But at the same time, it's still a super unreliable and mechanical nightmare of a coaster. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, I've been there like 12 times and it's broken down at least once, probably twice every time I've been there. So yeah, it's definitely unreliable. I don't know. I don't see it happening in the near future as long as they can keep it running relatively reliably. But if Top Thrill 2 ends up being a big hit and it's super reliable, I could definitely see them doing something in the future with it.
What I've heard is maintenance is looking into it. Nothing's confirmed or anything, and the ride still has like 10 years left. So like, it's gonna be a while until we see anything like that, probably.
I would hope it wouldn't get changed, but I can see them definitely watching an eye, just because if the reliability goes up, then they will definitely consider it. I just hope that they go back to the 2 loading station, though. If they do anything to that ride, because that at least could pump trains out when they had both sides of that station running.
For me, my biggest problem
broke or something.
What? No, it's more efficient for them to just use the one station the way it's set up now, because they don't run 4 trains anymore.
Gotcha.
I heard
they had issues with the The switch track had issues, and then when I worked that ride, you needed 9 people to run the ride. Then
Mhm.
now they only need 3, so it was a no-brainer just to knock it down to one side.
Exactly.
My biggest issue with Top Thrill 2, and that would of course correlate to COD, I feel like they just didn't go as crazy as they could have. Of course, they wanted to keep it cheap and they wanted to keep it safe. But for starters, I think the capacity is horrendous and it's going to be a giant issue. The Top Thrill 2 trains, there's what, 4 cars or 5 cars per train?
I
I
want to
don't
say
remember. I think it's 14 people like total. I don't remember the layout of it, but I think they're gonna have a massive problem with capacity.
They
To
can
be
only run a
honest.
max of 3 trains compared to Dragster, which could run what, 6?
Well, and the cycle's now like 6 times longer too.
Yeah. That's the biggest problem with having a swing launch coaster like that. Because, yeah, I mean, it's cool, but the capacity immediately is going to suffer. Not only because you're going to be able to run less trains, the dispatch times are going to have to take longer.
No
to account
no
for how much
seatbelts, by the way.
No seatbelts is going to help, but it's going to make no difference if the
They
train
have
is
to have
still
the
gonna be
train.
waiting.
I mean, they have to have the train loaded and ready to go roll out as soon as it clears the top hat and then go. Now, if we're to be believed, by the way, I don't know if you saw it. I haven't seen they haven't obviously released the real POV yet, but on the animated POV, it's a rolling launch.
Now, do we know there's room like out of the station before the switch track to like sit a train waiting to be moved, or it's not enough
No,
room there?
yeah, it's just like a turn, and then it like
Okay.
changes. Well,
Yeah, I mean, you're literally rolling out, taking that little right hand bank, and then onto the LSMs.
I'm just thinking like how Maverick has the 2 trains, and you can sit one at the base of the lift while the other one goes up.
I mean, they can't roll the next one out until it clears the top hat, though, in case of a rollback.
No, but like before
No,
the switch.
prior
But
to
there's
the
not room.
switch track.
There's not much like space there. Like, I don't even think there's a full train worth of space. Like,
Okay.
you roll out and you hit that thing immediately. It looked like.
Okay, that's all. I didn't.
Yeah,
know
yeah.
That would have been
Mhm.
smart to do that.
I heard to deal with the capacity, they're gonna have an unload and load, like Wildcat's Revenge, which.
Oh yeah. There
They
is.
definitely
They showed us that too.
Okay.
But either
I mean,
way, though, they gotta hustle people on out. They will have a no loose item policy at all, just like Steel Vengeance. Although they haven't decided how they're doing it yet, according to Tony, in terms of are they going to have? I'm sure they'll have metal detectors and everything the same way, but they haven't said how they're going to do it yet with lockers or anything.
That's a pain in the neck. Such a pain in the neck.
Well,
Steel Vengeance.
People are asses and can't keep their stuff put away. I'm sorry, like it's a joke.
Steel Vengeance's system, to me, I don't know how it is, but it's one of the worst locker systems I know of for any ride. That ride is so difficult to get on because of that system. You're almost guaranteed, unless you get there first thing in the morning, to wait 30 minutes bare minimum, even if you have fast lane, which to me is ridiculous. Like, even though like we all give Great Adventure a lot of crap for the lockers not being free, at least you're not standing in line for God knows how long doing the double-sided lockers. Because Hershey Park, they have the system down pat. Universal, they have it down pat, and it looks like Fiesta Texas has it down pat with Dr. Diabolical. I don't know why it's such a mess at Cedar Point. And even King's Dominion, it's not bad with Twisted Timbers. So I hope it's not like that on Top Thrill 2, because not only is it a capacity nightmare, you're going to be waiting a really long line no matter what. If they add that, that's just going to make it even more of a hassle.
Yeah.
The thing with Ka, though, I think if they were to do it, I'd hope they'd go a little further. For one, I would probably rather see Intamin take the project than Zamperla. I think Intamin would be able to do cooler stuff with it. I think Zamperla, I'm not doubting the company. I think they're still a good company, but they don't have the same capabilities as Intamin. Like, I think it's a shame that Dragster, or Top Thrill 2, doesn't have an airtime hill on the launch or something other than just straight track. I think it's really disappointing too that there's nothing after the top hat either. That it's basically the same ride with a weaker launch and a spike that you're going to go halfway, 3/4 up. I think that's kind of lame. I do too, but
I hope that Zamperla really succeeds at it, because I hope that opens more doors for them to do bigger and better things. Like because I mean, Wild Mouse for the first 3-4 weeks was an absolute debacle in terms of the programming and how much downtime and everything else. So I'm sure that's part of the reason that they're starting so early with testing and things and trying to like work out any kinks possible and things like that, which I'm sure there'll still be some problems, but hopefully, they figure it out earlier and take care of it. Because obviously I want to see them succeed, and I want to see them become another player in the industry and make it more competitive for things and stuff like that too.
Yeah, I definitely want to see the company succeed. I think them taking on a project like this so quick. I mean, granted, there have been plenty of companies that have done this too, but at this scale, with stuff that really hasn't been perfected or done by them yet, I think it's risky. I mean, it looks like it's running fine so far, but I don't know. I would rather see Intamin do it for Great Adventure. And I see someone now saying, imagine the forces if there was an airtime hill. The airtime hill obviously wouldn't be super aggressive. It would be stretched out enough like Pantheon where it's not going to kill the wheels. It'll be, you'll get a nice like -0.5, -0.1 Gs on it or something like that at full speed.
When was
Just something to spice it up.
How long has it been since like Six Flags worked with Intamin?
This year. They bought
did they?
the Ultra Splash or Ultra Surf, whatever it's called, for Georgia.
Okay, well, in terms of like building a coaster though, like I know that's kind of considered one, but I mean like it's been a while since that. Before that though, right? Just like with Cedar Fair.
Well, yeah, once they went to the discount model with Jim Reed Anderson, they didn't really buy any Intamin coasters. I mean, they bought the Intamin drop towers, Lex Luthor and Kilimanjaro. I feel like ABC Rides is technically Intamin. They bought the Turbulence from them. Other than
I was just curious. I was thinking, I wonder if it's going to open doors for the new company to kind of rekindle the flame with Intamin or not. And obviously, the newer Intamins are a heck of a lot more reliable than the older ones.
Yeah, well, I do know that Six Flags currently they have some projects in the works with Intamin, both that have been pushed pretty far along, some that are still in very early development, stuff like that. But there's going to be a lot more Intamin coming to the Six Flags parks, that's for sure.
Okay.
But I would say with Dragster 2.0, whatever, even if Intamin got the contract, because of how last minute it was, I don't think you'd see much change to the layout other than a spike. I don't think Intamin would have done anything different. They would have they wanted the ride up and running. It was more of an emergency kind of fix, it seems like.
That's true.
So I don't think even if they went with Intamin, I don't see having anything else done to it.
I imagine that like they were like, okay, here's what we want to do. How can you do it, and what would you charge us to do it, kind of thing. More so than, hey, send us a design of your own choosing. I'm sure they came up with the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Intamin would probably do the airtime hill, like they did with Pantheon and Tutatis. Like they'd probably put one on King the Ka.
Oh, come on. They would have, instead of the spike, they would have done a 420-foot tall vertical loop. Come on.
I think they should have done a fishtail spike, like Icebreaker, just to spice it up a little bit. Granted, though, there's a lot of things I would have done differently if I was in charge of that project. But the thing with Ka is they obviously have much more time than Cedar Point did with Dragster. So they'd probably be able to come up with different ideas than just straight track, spike, straight track. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm still excited for Top Thrill 2. I don't think it's going to come anywhere near Dragster, but I do think it'll be fun. I don't know, though. It's just, I think it could have been more. Next up, I went to Six Flags today, went on Jersey Devil 5 times in a row without getting off. That's my favorite coaster, better than El Boro. Okay, then. I definitely don't think Jersey Devil's better than El Toro. Obviously, I haven't been able to ride it in a while because of my situation, but still a really good ride. But it is not on the same level as Toro or even Ka, in my opinion.
I really wish at some point they give Toro the Hercules treatment and just like rebuild the entire thing with new track.
You scared me for a second when you said the Hercules treatment. I thought you meant Hercules at Dorney and just demo it.
Oh, no. That's the one they redid,
Colossus.
right? Hercules is the one they redid, right?
Yeah.
Colossus.
When you're saying Colossus,
that's right. It was Colossus. Yeah. I hope they I at some point, not necessarily right now, but like 10 years out or something, rather than it gets rough and they think, oh, we're just gonna replace it with something else, because the layout's phenomenal, the drop's phenomenal, obviously.
Oh no, they need to do that in the next couple of years because
It's still tearing itself apart.
It's still they need to do that ASAP.
I definitely agree.
I also appreciate the Jersey Devil love. I feel like it's hated on too much by some people. So
It does get a lot of hate. I don't get it. Like, having ridden Wonder Woman 2, and people are like, "Oh, Wonder Woman's so much better than Jersey Devil," meaning the one at Magic Mountain. It's not. It's the same ride, just a little better.
It's like, yeah, I would say it's like 10% better. Like
Yeah,
it wasn't
it's not
that
a
much
big
different.
difference. No,
I haven't been on the one in California. Can you feel every track joint like Jersey Devil?
no,
It's
smooth.
pretty smooth. It just has the shittiest ops and the worst like things ever happen to us.
And
on
the
a
queue
coaster.
is god awful. It is
It's horrendous.
Like the first room is cool, and then after that is atrocious. You have that locker system that makes no sense. Just not set up well. You can't put your cups on the ride platform. You have to leave them in a locker, but you can keep your phone with you and put it.
Well,
in
the
a little
lockers weren't
pouch.
working, and all the free ones were full, but we still couldn't do anything. It was a disaster.
And then it went down, and we got stuck in the sun. I asked for water. They never gave me water. At least they let us come up the exit later, though, and we got our preferred seating. That was nice.
Oh, they kind of argued with us about doing that, though. We're on the list that took. Like, people, what the heck?
Yeah, we had to stop the operations and everything for it. I see people, well, one person asking about Sammy in the chat. Sammy's still at work. He will get on once he's done with work. Don't worry.
He's actually building another coaster while he's there.
Yep, exactly. He's working on Flash. What's up, guys? Can't wait for Flash. Sorry, I'm out doing the Christmas shopping for the kids. When I'm done, I'll tune in. Well, great to see you, Hunter. See you later. Do you think in the off-season El Toro will get the bottom of the turnaround retrack? They always do some level of retracking every off-season because certain track segments need it. I think the bottom of the turnaround needs it desperately. It's gotten really, really rough as the season has gone on. Another spot that I know they did do track work to last year is the bottom of the first Camelback. When you're in the front of a car, the second half of that valley, you just feel like a boom, 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 like a triple pothole all in one. It's a little brutal. I noticed it on my first ride of 2023. You could see it in the POV because I wasn't expecting it. So my hand's like this, and I thought it was just gonna be the nice smooth valley, and then boom, 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 you feel it. So I think it'd be nice to see that resolved. I think overall Toro could definitely use quite a bit of track work. I think the only way it's really going to be restored per se back to like how it used to be in 06 when it first opened is if they do the Colossus treatment, but that's insanely expensive, almost as much, if not more, than a new coaster. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I know Balder recently had some issues, and T-Express is having issues now too. So it's not just Great Adventure and El Toro. It's all the prefabs that have had the same issues.
I think they're just coming up on their service life. It's something that needs to be done on.
Well, the problem is that Intamin marketed them as being able to last for 50 years per se, but that's just the structure. That's not the track. The track is not going to last anywhere near as long.
Also, being a brand new like prototype type model, they
didn't know.
You can't predict that. Like, you have no idea. You want to have faith in your company and be like, oh yeah, this is going to last that long. But you don't know.
That's all theoretical physics, and
right.
Math can only take you so far. Let's see. I think Hershey Park ever has a chance of getting a Stratocoaster? No. Absolutely not.
Never say never.
I mean, they have like the most well-rounded lineup of any park I think I've been to.
Yes. It's the perfect lineup.
You never know. They got all that land back behind Chocolate Town.
True. I think they should put a T-Rex back there, name it to Twizzlers.
And make it a Stratocoaster.
I guess they could. Let's see here.
Remember how like afraid we were they were gonna name like Wildcat like Twisted Twizzlers or whatever? Like what, all those bad names.
Yeah. Brian, where's your shirt from? It's cool. Eye roll emoji.
It's just from Great Adventure opening year of Holiday in the Park.
2015. That's pretty old.
Yeah.
That's 8 years ago, Colin.
Hey, 8 years is like half my life, so
fair enough.
Yeah, they don't make the shirts like they used to.
No.
They had better merch back then.
Is Hollywood Nights at Holiday World for everybody to? Okay, so I'm just gonna get this out of the way now. Tickets are already sold out, so if you wanted to go, you gotta wait till 2025.
But answering the question, yes, you have to be part of a coaster club or be the person that orders the tickets to go has to like put you as their guest. I went in 2020, the year after when they did it in August because of COVID, and it was fun, but they oversold it. So then they started limiting the tickets after that. But I know people want to make the argument, oh, it's a 2-day event, you're buying a 2-day ticket, blah blah blah. But $150 a ticket plus you have to stay at one of the local places, which is not cheap because there's no hotels. Like there's one hotel right there, and then there's like the cabins and stuff. So you're spending a ton of money to go, and it's fun. And Voyage night rides are awesome, but like not $150 a ticket, awesome.
To me, there's not enough there. I mean, I love Splash and
Exactly.
Safari. That's one of the best
Yep.
water parks in the country.
Yep.
But the park, Holiday World itself, you got a couple really good coasters, and that's it. So I don't know. Will Great Adventure have an announcement video like Fiesta Texas after they get approval after the 18th? Honestly, I don't know because Flash was a pretty last minute addition, as we all know. The concept art was thrown together very last minute because, again, they didn't have much time to prepare. That's why there wasn't an animated video. And honestly, it's already been announced. So I think the only way we're going to see anything for it is when they start running commercials or ads for it. And even then, they'll probably just wait until they can get commercial footage of it when it's actually built. So I don't know. We'll see. I hope we do.
The story behind it, though, like, was it supposed to go somewhere else and then they got it
Supposed
last
to
minute or
go
something?
To a Fanta Wild park in China, and it was bought by Six Flags pretty cheap. They had it kind of sitting there, like, you know, they didn't know where they wanted to put it, and then they saw they could squeeze it into Great Adventure real quick for the 50th because they didn't have
Why
any.
Why didn't they put it in the park they were going to?
Fanta Wild?
Yeah.
That, I guess it just fell through. I mean, a lot of the China parks wind up falling.
Because I remember him making like a kind of a very subtle comment about, oh, it fell into our laps the last second or something like that. To that effect.
Yeah, they didn't really have much time to figure it out, so they just kind of did it real quick. But honestly, looking at the concept art, well, the blueprint, they did a really good job with the whole plaza and everything, considering how little time they had to prepare. I do hope we see some concept art, though, like with the sign maybe and the coaster and how it's going to interact with the path. I think that would be really cool.
I don't really see much else announced of it. Maybe a POV down the road, but I don't really see. They, like you said, they already announced it. They gave their little spiel about it. I don't think they're going to go any more in depth with it.
No, I just think you're going to start seeing new for 2023 or 2024. Flat. It'll be a Great Adventure general ad on TV and stuff.
Yeah. Will King's Dominion's wing coaster be the best? All right. Well, we don't even know if they're getting a wing coaster. If they do, I don't know, because the wing coaster model, I have really weird opinions on it. I've ridden all 4 of them except for X-Flight in the States, and my favorite, honestly, is either Wild Eagle or Gatekeeper. Thunderbird is my least favorite.
Thunderbird is, I like it. It's short though, and it's the only one that like disorients the crap out of me. I get the only one I get to the brake run. I'm like, why am I dizzy? This is weird. Wild Eagle is really fun just because you can't really see the layout. Although the weird double helix at the end doesn't make much sense. X-Flight's pretty janky. Gatekeeper, like the front half's great, but then the back half just doesn't do anything. So they're all very unique, like compared to each other. But yeah, like they don't do much. I mean, it just, unless they revamp the model and go, really tall or a lot more inversions or something, like they change it somehow. I don't. What is the best like wing coaster? I mean, is that a badge of honor kind of thing?
Yeah, it's true. It's really up to interpretation with that.
Right.
Oh, I thought Thunderbird at Hollywood was great, and Wild Eagle at Dollywood's really good.
I like the head choppers on Thunderbird. I think those are really cool.
Yeah.
The launch is cool too because it's something different.
But that's what I think King's Dominion needs to do. You need to put another launch. Put a launch B&M wing if you're going to do a wing at all.
But then they also have Tumbili right there, and that's a wing too. So that would kind of be a little odd.
I just think they should finally bite the bullet and put. I know the whole thing about, oh, we don't want to put the same things as Busch Gardens, but put in a big ass invert. Like, screw it. People would still ride it. I don't want to hear, oh, it's redundant. I mean, it's going to be a completely different model. It's not going to be a clone or anything like that. I mean, Alpengeist is great, but like, who cares?
They could get a Vekoma STC that's like on a
can somebody scale. Please build a full scale like new model Vekoma over here?
That's
Yeah,
not
put Fly in there.
Flash. Yeah, Fly would be really good.
That would be a good homage to Volcano.
Yeah, and if they theme it too, I mean that area already has insane theming. So
Make it like a bat or something, or some other flying animal. Put it right in
yeah.
there.
Next up, I'm gonna leave for a second. I got to grab some more water, but I'll leave this question with you guys. Where and when can Over Georgia build a Raptor if they were to get one as their next coaster?
I don't think. Do they have? I don't think they have much land, do they?
I don't think they have a lot in the back. If they weren't putting the surf or the aqua, whatever they're doing, that would have been perfect for.
Where are they
Raptor.
putting that in the park?
So it's near the front, but there used to be a splash boat ride there.
Okay.
Kind of by the mine train ride. It's like
Okay.
the mine train backs up to it. But you'd have a straight shot back to the Justice League, where what Justice League I think is back there now, and Superman. Like it would
Yeah.
run along.
Yeah.
Would have been perfect to put the Raptor. But now that you're putting this there, it's like, well, I don't know.
Like,
I think you
of the
kinda-
Six Flags parks, Over Georgia is really, really a big loop, right? It's really round, if I remember correctly.
It is very.
Yeah.
It's a nice park. I don't think they have room for a Raptor unless it's
Did they cut into the parking lot?
or something.
Yeah. Could they? In the parking lot.
I think they off the back end of the DC area. I think they could.
Yeah, I think that's the only place you could do that at, as I'm thinking about it.
Because then the other lot is by what is it, Twisted Cyclone? I think backs up to the other, like there's another secondary parking lot.
Yeah, because there's the one when you come down that road, you go either to the one that's up to the right or the main one down to the left.
Yeah.
Because the one down to the left reminds me of Great Adventures parking lot because it's a nice long ass walk like up to the front from there.
Yeah, I didn't. The one visit I had, I parked we were in the right and we came right in.
Yeah, the last time I was there, I was up there because that's technically my home park because I don't know. I guess when I first got a Six Flags pass, I bought it there because that was the first park I was going to that year. So technically, that is like my home park for the Six Flags pass. Not that it'll matter after this year, but whatever. I'm gonna miss my $9 a month grandfathered Gold Plus pass.
Are they removing the memberships?
Probably.
Yeah.
I would take a guess once this merger goes through, they'll get rid of that. Everyone will be.
Because it'll be a new company and they can void the contracts.
And they'll make their own whatever they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Let's see, where would they build a Raptor? I would have thought it would be going next to Justice League, but obviously they're putting the Ultra Surf there now. So honestly,
Exactly what
I really don't know.
Yeah, this is pretty much exactly what we said.
But continue.
I mean, maybe they could put it near Scream Machine. There's some land over there. There's some land by in between Blue Hawk and Pandemonium too, kind of where Hurricane Harbor's entrance is. There's nothing in the front of the park really.
Well, that's what I said. They don't have much land either, right? Like they don't own, compared to a lot of the other Six Flags parks that have some land.
And then that mountain in the middle would be a pain in the neck to build on, and I don't think they'd want to mess with that either. I don't know. Maybe there's something in the DC area they could squeeze in. If they get rid of the stunt arena.
I just don't see a Raptor in the cards for them.
That's what I would have thought would be next for them.
Yeah.
I don't know though. Which coaster enthusiast top 25/50 are you looking forward to seeing the most? Jersey Devil Errands, of course. I've gotten almost every prediction right.
Yeah.
I just don't care. Like,
yeah, I'm with Bob.
Whoever's like stuff is that's their opinion, and I hate when somebody's like, "Oh, here's my top 25," and there's people just like razz them over it, and it's like, who cares? Like, whatever your favorite 25 coasters are, that's your favorite 25 coasters. If you put like, if your number one coaster is the Beast, then your number one coaster is the Beast. Who am I to judge? What do I care? Whatever you enjoy.
Exactly.
Some people
the only
like Little Devil.
definitive ranking there is the ranking of numbers in order from 1 to 25. Any topic you pick, everyone's gonna have different opinions on it.
Plus, you get all the people that use it just to flex it. Oh, I've been to like 1,000 different parks. I've been overseas. I've been here. I've been there. I don't care. Whatever.
Exactly.
I would say girls. Sorry to answer the question.
Who'd you say?
Airtime thrills.
He does have some interesting takes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Not many good ones, but they're interesting. What are your top 5 RMCs, including Raptors?
Well, none of the Raptors are in my top 5. So
Yeah, they're not my top 5 either.
I mean, I think at least us. I don't know if Aaron's been down there, but us three, it's going to either be Steel Vengeance and Iron Gwazi, one way or the other for the top 2.
Yeah, I've ridden Steel Vengeance and Iron Gwazi.
Okay, so yeah, so I mean, mine's probably backwards years. I like Steel Vengeance better than Iron Gwazi, but just barely. After that, I would say I love Iron Rattler. That would be in there. I think Twisted Colossus would be in there. What would be the last one?
Wildcat?
Wildcat's really good. I'm not a big lightning rod fan like a lot of people are. It's fun, but I don't think it's all that. New Texas Giant does nothing for me.
Yeah.
Twisted Cyclone's great, but obviously it's so small, but it does a lot for the little tiny plot it has.
Same with Joker. Joker's a little weak, though, in terms of power.
Yeah. Yeah, Wildcat would probably be in there. Wildcat will probably actually be 3 or 4 in there, I think. But Iron Rattler is great. I can't get over how good it is for it. Again, another short one, but the only buzzkill with Iron Rattler is when you come down like into the like quarry wall and you're like, oh crap, there's the brakes right after that. Like I wish I did something else after that, but it doesn't. But yeah, I think that's where I would go.
I got Iron Gwazi, Wildcat Revenge, then Twisted Timbers, Steel Vengeance.
Oh shit, yeah, forgot about Twisted Timbers. That would definitely be in there.
Those 3 back-to-back airtime hills.
Yeah, they're insane.
Twisted Timbers is great.
Okay.
What about you, Aaron?
Mine, Iron Gwazi, Steel Vengeance, Wildcat, Wicked Cyclone, Twisted Timbers.
I'm not going to give mine in order because I want to hold off on that for now. But the 5 best, Wildcat, Twisted Colossus, Steel Vengeance, Twisted Timbers, and Iron Gwazi, of course.
And you didn't even get a dueling ride on Twisted Colossus. Like, if you did, it'd be even more amazing.
Yeah, it was just that good. The layout is just unreal.
They had such great ops when we were there that we were still sitting in the station when your train went through both sides, and you still sat there for like 3 more minutes after that.
Yeah, the second day, though, they came close to getting us.
It was better, yeah.
Credit. Still, though, kind of a mess. Let's see. Hi, I'm such a big fan. I watch all of your videos. Well, thank you for that, Aiden. So you think that Great Adventure will build a coaster after Flash? If so, what coaster will it be?
At some point they will, I'm sure.
I've been asked this question on every stream for the past year, and I still can't answer it because, well, I think it goes without saying. There's going to be something. There's going to be something. It's going to be soon. That's all I'll say. Hot take. Hershey considers selling off Wild Adventures since they never invested into the park. I think it probably has a steady enough income and attendance where they don't really need to.
If you think about one of 2 ways, it's like, okay, so like think about Michigan's Adventure with Cedar Fair. Michigan's Adventure still makes money, even if it's not that much money. So they didn't really invest anything into it ever because they didn't need to. Even if it lost money, it's a tax write-off, so who cares? So if Wild Adventures isn't hemorrhaging money, even if they are like losing some money, I mean, it's a huge, they can use it as a tax write-off. They're not going to do that. But you're absolutely right. They haven't put any money into it. They just closed stuff in it, but it is what it is. They haven't really put that much money in Kentucky Kingdom, but it still makes money because their water park is packed every single day.
Yeah. Oh boy. What's going on with Barnstormer? I think they should get rid of it and put it in Nebulas. Barnstormer, I really hope that one day I can like make a documentary about it, because for whatever reason, such a simple addition has had such a complicated construction history. It's kind of insane. All I'll say is it should be open next year at some point.
Okay. Did you know what happened to like the guy that was making it?
I-
Programming it?
I do know that there was an issue with the power in that little subsection of the park, and that's why the one little kid ride near Skull Mountain is also been closed.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know. So it's a little complicated. Nebulas, though, I mean, personally, I've ridden the one at Hershey Park. I do not like it at all. I'm sure it's fun for the kids. I don't like it. It got me dizzy, and I don't like getting dizzy on rides. But it would look cool. I always thought it'd be cool if they put it where Jumpin' Jack Flash used to be, where the stupid paintball building was. But now that they got rid of that, there's no reason to block it off again with a ride. So there's plenty of different places they could put one of those. They could even put it next to fender benders, but they kind of use that whole open plot for the events now. So probably not.
Yeah, I think a Nebula should just go in. Don't remove Barnstormer. Just put it somewhere else in the park.
They really, in my opinion, need to work on the Junior Thrill Seekers area because it is one of the most disjointed kids areas out there. I mean, you have the Wiggles World aesthetic still there. You still have some like Safari Kids aesthetic. You have like the generic Junior Thrill Seekers theme. You have some Looney Tunes stuff still. Like it's very all over the place. And I hope at some point they kind of consolidate it and give it like a proper theme. I kind of hope, even though I'm not a fan of IPs, I think it'd be great if they just converted that entire little kids area to Camp Snoopy, because Camp Snoopy would fit really well with the Pine Barrens theme, and it would just look really good, honestly, because all the Camp Snoopy areas, especially the one at Carowinds, they look great. So I think that'd be a good route to go.
2026.
2026. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. After I went to Hershey, I went to Kennywood. Phantom was better than I thought. I can see why it's a top 5 coaster. I feel like it's better than Wildcat. So, my opinion on Phantom is very unpopular. I have it really low in my rankings. It's not a top 50 coaster for me. When I rode it, it just did nothing. It has the couple of airtime moments towards the end, but to me, the rest of the ride was just a really dull kind of nothing burger, personally. I got to rewrite it because it's been a few years, but yeah, it didn't really do much for me, unfortunately.
I mean, the second drop on it, obviously the big drop, and then the turn out of the big drop are both awesome. But yeah, the rest of it, because after that, you just hit a big helix, and then you have the 2 airtime hills at the end, and it's basically it. I mean, it's fun, but it's not overwhelming.
For those wondering who the blank person that has just entered the thing is, that is Sammy.
What's up, guys?
He's here. Hello, Sammy.
I'm in the car, so I'm gonna be not.
This is safe.
Yep. All right. Where were we?
Phantom's Revenge, Wildcat.
What do you think, Brian?
I have not ridden Phantom's Revenge. I haven't been to Kennywood yet. That's another park I gotta get to. But Wildcat Revenge is just really good. I don't really see Phantom beating it, but hopefully within the next 2-3 years I'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
No, it won't beat it.
It probably won't. I think it's too short, but it's still a great ride. Like,
it's good.
Yeah.
I got to rewrite it though. I'll give it that.
What's the question we're on right now?
This one person thinks that they like Phantom better than Wildcat.
It's close, but I think Wildcat has the edge.
Wildcat destroys
Wildcat's better.
destroys it. There's 2 very popular coasters that I'm not a big fan of, and they're Voyage and Phantom. They're 2 rides I just think are insanely overrated.
I think Voyage is overrated too.
But you also had like bad rides on Voyage. But
Who, me?
yeah, I remember your dad was telling me about.
It was rough as hell.
And you were like crawling through the mid course.
Yeah, but even then, the first half really didn't do much. I mean, it was weak floater. The turns and everything were super rough. I mean, it was very, very disappointing, unfortunately.
I mean, I had awful rides on Wicked Cyclone, but I got to get back there and actually ride it when it's not like raining and crappy out.
That ride's so good when it's warmed up. Let's see. I had an idea for an LSM-powered drop tower, so it could be a very fast launch up and a faster than gravity drop. I'm pretty sure that exists.
That's what Power Tower is.
Power Tap. Most of the SNS shot towers are that. Like the one at Casino Pier, that's my favorite one, Sure Shot. it launches you up and then thrusts you back down.
Well,
you get
even
like
Tower of Terror and stuff pulls you down faster than gravity.
yeah. So there's a lot of those out there. They're really good. They're much better than standard drop towers, in my opinion. Brian looks like Tyler Toney.
I have no
All right,
clue.
Bob's gonna Google Tyler Toney because
I'm pretty sure Tyler Toney's the guy from Dude Perfect.
Yeah.
Which actually, I kind of see it.
Kind of.
Kind of.
I do
I gotta
see
now
that.
look this up now.
Loki, I kind of see it.
He's Tyler from Dude Perfect.
I mean, the first picture that popped up was like a random shirtless picture, though, for me. So
Yeah, no, I got the same thing came up.
a little bit.
I don't see it, but okay.
Yeah, Sky
Wish
Guy.
he
I
had
think
his money,
might-
I'm sure, but
Yeah.
Well, it's like I get Ryan Reynolds all the time, and I do not see that.
Maybe a very little. I don't know about that, though.
Like
You
maybe
remember
the
when
eyes in the hair.
I don't know. I don't see that because you know, in your 4th of July party, there's people there. Oh, look at that! And I'm like, what?
That's funny. Should Over Georgia consider naming their Ultra Surf Aquaphobia, Georgia Surfer, or Iron Splash? There's only one correct answer. I want to make sure you all know what it is. Let's hear it.
Aquaphobia.
I like Aquaphobia. Yeah.
I like Georgia
Iron
Surfer.
Splash.
All right, it's Aquaphobia. The other ones are horrible.
Aquaphobia.
Yeah.
Bro.
Aquaphobia. I mean, I know, like, what is it?
I don't think. But the funny thing is, I don't think aquaphobia is actually a thing. I think it's hydrophobia. But
Yeah, aquaphobia is not real, but it sounds good.
yeah, it does sound cool. But it
Compared
sounds
to
like you're afraid of
Georgia Surfer-
Aquaman, though.
Yeah, it does. Compared to Georgia Surfer is not horrible, but it's a little weak because
I'm tired of the iron
Georgia-
and steel like things being put before every ride.
they saw the name for Iron Menace and was like, "Oh, we could just use that and just put Splash and call it a day." Like, no, don't do that. Aquaphobia is what they should go with, in my opinion. It was not confirmed to be named anything. That was a spoof post for Georgia Surfer. It's not real. How'd you hurt your foot? I was playing volleyball, and that speaks for itself. Will you attend Great Adventure on their last day of the 2023 season? More than likely. I'm not sure how much more often I'm going to go to the park, being that I can't walk around, because it definitely degrades the experience a little bit for me. I say that, and then I still go every week anyway. But I definitely want to make it there for the last day of the season. What are your thoughts on Flash only running one train? I mean, it is what it is. I knew that is what it was going to be from the get-go because I knew they weren't going to put a turntable in. I think as long as the operations are fast enough, which knowing how good the crews are at Great Adventure, I'm sure they'll be quick. Plus the fact that you're going to have lockers in the queue, so no BS with that. I think it's going to be fine. It's going to have better capacity than Joker and Jersey Devil tend to have, honestly. Jersey Devil running 2 trains only can hold 24 people, so.
Yeah. I was gonna say 3 trains. It's not that bad. At Devil.
But anything over than 3 trains on Devil, it gets a little rough.
Mm.
I wonder if Nitro will get new paint. I wonder too. In my opinion, they have too much going on in 2024. Squeeze the repaint in. I'm still hopeful for it, but I'm going to say it's probably going to get pushed off another year.
Yeah, I think that's a 2025 project.
Yeah. Great Adventure have everything ready for the July anniversary. So Great Adventure officially opened on July 1st, 1974. And I know Brian Basica, the park president, has that date pinned on his calendar. So there's definitely going to be some form of event. I think their goal is to have everything ready by Memorial Day weekend, and that'll be kind of the kickoff for the 50th festival. I'm imagining Flash, the bricks, Giant Wheel, Log Flume, all that will probably their goal is to have it ready for Memorial Day. So I think if that winds up being the case, then the July 1st anniversary will be a big hit. Let's see. Goliath at Over Georgia was set to get a repaint. What should be its new color scheme? I like its color scheme. I don't want them to change it.
I like its color scheme too. My favorite color scheme still though is the the old Firehawk colors, like the maroon and like charcoal gray. I think that always looks cool together. Kind of like Diabolical did a little bit too.
X2.
X2's color scheme.
X2 as well. Yeah.
I would say keep it. I think it's good color scheme. Just repaint it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I like the really blue color schemes too, like Taiga with the bright blue track and like dark supports. I think that looks really good too.
You mean not the random Cedar Fair colors like Rougarou and Valraven? It's just
Yeah.
out of
I
nowhere.
mean, they look good, but they're just like odd. What new for 2024 edition in the US are each of you most excited for? I'm glad you limited it to the US because if you didn't, there's two overseas that by far look like the best ones.
Which are what?
Voltron and Hyperia. They look like insane rides.
Both
Especially Voltron. Voltron has me a little more excited, but Hyperia looks insane too. In the States,
Top Thrill 2.
if it opens, I'll say Circuit Breaker. I'm really excited for Flash and Iron Menace because they're my two home parks getting coasters that are well deserved. Bobcat looks really cool too. But I'm probably gonna have to say Circuit Breaker.
I guess by default Top Thrill 2 because like the US next year isn't getting that much compared to past years.
Mhm.
Iron Menace will be really cool. I think the Iron Menace like theming and stuff looks really cool. That's another thing I wonder with the merger because Six Flags does theming a lot better than Cedar Fair on the whole. So I wonder if that'll kind of translate over to a little bit. But if things play out right, Top Thrill 2 will be my 500th. So that's obviously the closest one to me, and then Iron Menace, and then like nothing else anywhere nearby. The Fire and the Imagining too will be cool though.
Mm-hmm.
The Hot Wheels coasters. Do we know what?
Yeah, I actually thought that too.
Because the last train on IAPA was so sick.
It does.
But are they 2025 or are they 2024?
They're 24.
That one of the I guess Bone Crusher, is that the one? What's the
Bone
latest?
Shaker and what's the other one called? Now I gotta look it up. It's gonna kill
The
me.
one that they just had at IAPA would be one of them, and then Iron Menace would be the other one for me.
Let's see. It's Bone Shaker and Twin Mill Racer. Twin Mill Racer is the extreme one.
Yeah, no, that would be. Everyone forgets about that park, but like
that's the Lightning Run type coaster, right?
Yeah. I've also heard that Qiddiya is expected to open in October of 2024. So, I mean, obviously, I know a lot of people want nothing to do with that park because of Saudi, which I don't blame you at all. I personally still plan on going to the park to check it out because I'm a coaster enthusiast and I want to try it. But if that does wind up opening, I think Iron Rattler, Mine Train, and Falcon's Flight should definitely be on everyone's watch list. Iron Rattler kind of got buried in all the hype for Falcon's Flight. Honestly, I think it might be better than Falcon's Flight. I think Falcon's Flight, honestly, is going to wind up just being okay. I think it'll kind of have the same effect as something like, I don't know, Steel Dragon or something like that, where, yeah, the stats are insane, but, like, it doesn't do much with it. Same with, like, Formula Rosa. It looks like a really good ride, but it's no one's number one or top 5 or anything.
People forget that park is getting an Intamin multi-launch, too.
I mean, yeah. You mean Spitfire, right?
Whatever it's called, yeah.
It's literally Top Thrill 2, but 200 feet shorter, though. That's all it is.
Yeah, but
Sammy, somebody in the comments wants you to say your mom with a sassy voice.
I'm okay today.
I think you should do it.
Yeah, I feel like they're demanding it. Like you're liking what you're saying on it.
What do I get out of this?
Nothing.
My love.
Your mom.
There you go.
There it is. All right.
Thank you.
Actually, now I'm kind of looking at all of Qiddiya's coasters. It's really not that impressive of a lineup from a thrill perspective. I mean, they're big thrill coasters. It's Falcon's Flight, Iron Rattler, and Spitfire. Then you also have their GCI Colossus, which it's labeled as a thrill coaster. I guess they're not expecting it to be super extreme. They have a Mach water coaster. They have a Vekoma family coaster, and they have another Vekoma family. They have two Vekoma family coasters, an invert and a regular.
Yeah,
I
is
don't know.
half
That
this
part's-
stuff going to even be able to run during the summer there with how hot it is?
I don't know. That's what I'm kind of worried about with that. But I think 2025 is probably going to wind up being overall just a bigger year for new coasters. 24, originally it was kind of shaping up to be this like really big year for all these parks, but sure, there's a ton of new coasters coming out, but a lot of them are smaller scale. It's a lot of family coasters and stuff like that. Like there's a ton of parks getting new coasters: SeaWorld Orlando, Busch Gardens Tampa, Kings Island, Knott's, Great Adventure, Dorney, Great Escape. Like there's a ton of parks, but not all giant additions. I think 25 will have more substantial additions.
I think people are still recovering from the pandemic too, like financially. I mean, we know there's a lot of debt and a lot of the companies, especially.
Definitely. That's probably why BGW is going the route they are with the 25 coaster, if that winds up being true. SeaWorld's kind of taken a step back a little bit from like the major extreme coasters. They've been in a lot of family coasters ever since COVID. But
SeaWorld needs to get ready for Epic Universe opening. They need a little.
They got to step it up.
Across the family.
They got to get
See
an
the
infinite
size
model.
of that dueling coaster that's going there?
Starfall Racers. That
It's
looks
huge.
amazing.
Dude, I don't know how they're not going to open next year. Like all this stuff's going to be pretty. I'm
I heard
waiting to hear
previews
soft
are
opening.
supposed to be next year.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I heard like the preferred. What's the highest pass they have?
Prestige.
Um,
No,
I
that's
think
Universal.
premium
Cedar
pass.
Fair.
Premium pass.
Premium, yeah,
pass.
whatever.
Yeah, premium pass holders might get to start in December next year.
Damn.
So we're gonna see how it goes, but I can see it happening.
I think when that park opens, it's going to completely change everything.
when that park opens, that's when you go ride Velocicoaster. No one's going to be there.
Yeah, it's true. Velocicoaster will still be the best coaster in the Universal Resort.
I don't know. Starfall looks pretty good.
It does, but it's not Velocicoaster.
Sammy, are you saying Starfall Racers could be your number one?
Nothing's going to be Ghost Rider. What are you talking about?
No, Velocicoaster's over Ghost Rider.
Yeah. Velocicoaster is Sammy's number one, and he's saying Starfall Racers could be better.
I think the world might end. Nothing beats Ghost Rider.
Apparently,
Right,
Velocicoaster
too.
did back in August.
All right, well, we're going to move on. Let's see. I'm going to answer this question real quick. Hydraulic launches are definitely not going to come back. They're done. What do you think is the perfect 50th anniversary coaster for Great Adventure? If you got to choose, personally, I think an RMC Hyper Hybrid. I don't think an RMC Hyper Hybrid at all. I think they were going in the right direction with Flash, but it's not necessarily perfect for paying homage. I think they should have done a dueling Premier coaster that it's a multi-launch that has some form of a shuttle aspect to it. That would have paid homage to Rolling Thunder and Chiller.
Almost like full throttle.
I don't really know if you could pay homage to Chiller though, like with the reputation it had.
It's not like it killed someone.
Yeah,
It derailed though.
Again, Toro derailed, and it's still fine.
Yeah, but it's not talked about as much as Chiller was back in the day.
You realize that Rolling Thunder killed someone where Chiller didn't, right?
I mean, most of the like the old school Great Adventure coasters, most of them killed people, like Lightning Loops. But Lightning Loops
That's
had
That's
much
one.
better
a whole other story.
Yeah.
And technically, an ironworker did die working on Chiller, so it did kill someone.
Yeah, indirectly.
I don't know. I think they could have kept everything with Flash, and instead of vertical velocity, call it Flash Lightning Loops.
Why? There's not a loop. It's a
It
Immel.
doesn't matter. You get the idea.
I think it should have just been called like, I don't know, not Flash. They should have called it Robin.
That wouldn't make sense.
Why? Batman's not far, and it was Batman and Robin the Chiller.
Yeah, but it's not even in Gotham right now.
They should just retheme the whole thing to move as a DC universe and call it a day.
Yeah, we've been saying that for years.
What they could do is connect the entire area and make it a big circle and have Flash bring you out by like Dark Knight and connect it through the back there behind Justice League and Dark Knight.
I don't know, but to answer the question, I would have put a dueling GCI.
Yeah. It's a good choice. What impact will Jinma rides have on the U.S.? So this is actually a really good question. I presume you all know what Jinma rides is, right?
Is this that golden horse or whatever?
Yes. So they're building a coaster here, I think in 24 or 25. And I recently watched, I believe, Coaster College, his video on it. Really, really good video. And in the video, he actually had footage of Jinma employees hiding their badges at IAAPA. And they were at the B&M booth, and they were taking pictures and asking a bunch of questions about the Penguin Trek train.
I literally saw that happen.
Yeah, Sammy was there.
I literally saw that happen. It was so funny.
I mean,
and they went over to Falcon's Flight right after that. It was so funny.
They're well known for intellectual property abuse because they're based out of China, and China doesn't have the same rules and regulations about that as the U.S. does, so they can kind of get away with it there. And they dominate in the Chinese market. But they've been trying to break
shut down 1 year at IAAPA because Zamperla, I think, filed on them for copyright infringement.
Exactly. So they created a subsidiary based in Europe. I forget what it's called, but they don't really hide that they're just Jinma rides, but call it a different name. Hang on, I gotta mute whoever this is in the chat. We're gonna do that. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Jinma. So I'm really curious what winds up happening in the US because they could definitely have a major effect on the market. Though at the same time, you have all these well-established manufacturers. And if a company like Zamperla, who's been working in this country for years, is still struggling to get major coaster bids, I don't know that Jinma is really going to be able to get in as well as the other manufacturers. But we'll see. It's definitely going to be interesting. But I really hope, personally, I hope they don't. I'd much rather see companies that form their own innovations and didn't just rip off other manufacturers to get their way up to the top. I think that's one of the shittiest things you can do personally. Sorry for the curse, but I had to say it. I think Jinma is a really crummy company for that. And sure, they've made their own innovations now, but to get there by just ripping other people off, I think is really disgraceful.
I don't think a park would work with them though. Like, because at least when I did the coaster crew event at Hershey Park, and we got a Q&A with like the Hershey Park engineer, and like the question was asked, like, why didn't you go GCI and with the Titan track? And they said like RMC is true. There's enough backing behind the company. They're like, hey, this is what they're good at. We see their product. It's good. Why take a chance with the Titan track? Who's going to go with this company that clearly has issues and that doesn't really have a track record? You know, like, I don't think a park's going to want to sign a $1 million contract and take that risk.
Exactly. Especially in today's economy, especially post-COVID and everything. Let's see. Next up. What is your coaster count right now? Who wants to go first?
499.
184.
350.
329.
380.
Wow.
So I'll hit 400. Hopefully in the first half of 2024. I'd like to hit 450, but that's a lot. Hang on. I did calculate how many new coasters and how many different coasters I rode this year. I commented it somewhere on Instagram. Let's see.
Actually, wait, 336. I forgot about Dollywood. My bad.
Where is it? Here we go. So I rode 107 different coasters this year, 54 of which were new credits. So I'm pretty happy with how it went this year. California was certainly an adventure, right, Bob?
Yeah, well, there were several coasters that I needed credits for that did never open, like Apocalypse and a couple other things. But I mean, other than the debacle at Magic Mountain, I mean, the rest of the trip went smooth, like everywhere else
Yeah, it
for the
did.
most part. But
We
that was
just-
a
It was a
absolute
culture shock out there. Honestly,
yeah. I mean, especially because like for me, Santa Monica Pier in 2019, we were there for con, was like so beautiful. It was so nice, and then we go out there and there's just nothing but like homeless people everywhere, and people like doctors checking on them to make sure they're not dead, and drugs everywhere. And we didn't even go to the Walk of Fame because like we saw like literally that morning videos like how many like homeless people were out there, and we drove down there and saw it ourselves. Like we didn't obviously go walk on there, but we drove through there. It was bad.
you see everything like online, and of course, usually it is glorified, but there's a big difference when you actually see it in person. But regardless, that's getting off topic. Next up, of all the defunct rides, what are your top 5 to be reborn? Well, I think we should just collectively pick one. Well,
Big Bad
pick
Wolf.
one each because 5 per person is a lot. I'll let you guys go first.
Big Bad Wolf.
RMC Rolling Thunder.
Volcano.
Son of Beast.
Yeah, Son of Beast is a good one. If I had to pick a different one, now I really got to think. Shoot, Soaring with Dragon would be a good one to see come back. That's the aero suspended coaster in South Korea, or whatever it was called. I think it was
The
called
one that
Soaring with
everybody
Dragon.
like raves that did get to ride it raves about and said it was incredible.
Yeah, it looked ridiculous. I mean, the way you
Yeah.
just whip
Yeah.
back and forth. I'm trying to think of other coasters that are gone now that were really good.
Dragster.
Well, they're rebirthing it, not the way I
Yeah.
would have, but
Dueling Dragon.
Dueling Dragons.
Dueling Dragons was
definitely.
awesome.
They're pretty much doing that with Starfall, honestly. Different theme and different type, but same idea.
Yeah, same concept, kind of.
Hercules from Dorney would be a good one as an RMC for it to be reborn.
I heard that they thought about it at some point. I think it was in the plans.
Okay. Personally,
I
I'm
don't
not a fan of Hydra, so I wouldn't be against at all if Hydra wasn't built. I see people saying Chiller in chat. I would say Chiller, but Mr. Freeze is so much better. I would have rather them just built a Mr. Freeze clone from the get-go. But
Yeah,
that's
but
just
I mean, was RMC even a company when Hercules was getting torn down? Because what was
No.
Hydra was?
Hydra was
05?
built in 2005.
Yeah. So how could that have been in the works?
No. They have room behind there still up on the lake.
Dude, there's no
the old
space.
footers are still there. In the
I've
lake.
been down there. There's not enough for a full-scale RMC.
No.
Yeah, there's houses really close to there.
Yeah, they wouldn't be all right with that now.
And they'd have noise
Probably
pollution and probably have to put a sidewalk in too. So it's a whole thing.
Oh yeah, you can't forget the sidewalk.
Yeah.
That's what I'm most excited for about Donny Park, going on that new sidewalk.
Where's Ace? He's great. Ace is currently busy. He will be in the vlog from today, which should release soon. There is another video, though, that I want to try to get out before that. If you guys didn't see already, I released the Flash update today. I'm hoping to get a video kind of analyzing the new branding of Great Adventure, because to a lot of people, it might seem kind of insignificant that they're calling it a resort now. But to me, that kind of like redefines the entire future of the park. I think they're going to go in a really interesting direction. So that'll be covered hopefully in tomorrow's video. We'll see.
He's not going to be part of the Hollywood Studios holiday special.
Names?
What, Sammy?
Did I miss something? Did I miss
Yes, there's a
something?
new logo and a new name for the park.
Oh, really? What is it?
Six Flags Great Adventure Resort. And then underneath, it's theme park, water park, safari, glamping.
But it's not a resort if it's just glamping. Shouldn't it be
It's
Great
getting
Adventure
there.
Glamping?
It's getting there.
Oh, no, I agree. I think we are getting there. I think it takes a couple more years, though, to get to that point.
Because I saw the new logo at the food bank thing they had outside the security. They had the logo there, and I looked at it. I was like, wait a minute, that's not the normal logo. So that's the first time we're seeing it. Anyways, though,
Cool.
do you see Huss bringing back a modern topspin? I think as of late, the manufacturers are trying to keep the flat rides either super innovative or super simple, and usually the super simple ones sell much better. Top spins aren't really simple. So I don't think so.
They tried it with Cyborg, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cyborg didn't really work out. Well, Cyborg itself did. The model did not. What wooden coaster do you want to get RMC'd next?
Predator.
Monster at La Ronde. Or Lightning Racer at Hershey Park. I know Wildcat already exists, but I really don't like Lightning Racer.
How does RMC El Toro sound, Sammy?
No.
I'm not even going to finish that.
If they just 208 it, keep the same layout, and just put the 208 track.
No,
Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be against Toro getting 208.
No, don't do it.
Only in the valleys. Only in the valleys.
The problem
Doesn't
is
matter.
they ran out of like large scale wood coasters to be able to RMC with the exception of Predator. That's the only one left, and they just tighten tracked a bunch of spots on there, I think. So that's not going to happen. But that's like the only one that's left. That's like a big long one that they would actually touch, other than like Scream Machine. But they're not going to do that because obviously they did Twisted Cyclone already.
I want to see them RMC New Texas Giant.
Oh yeah, yes. Roar in America. Yes, that's the one. Good call.
Yeah, Roar needs it bad.
I completely forgot about that.
What about some of that Holiday World, like the Legend or Raven?
Raven. If
Yeah.
anything, Raven.
Yeah, the Raven.
Yeah,
the Raven.
Legend is awesome.
Legend's
tonight.
really good.
Yeah.
But even
Raven was weak.
Le Monster at Le Ron, that's a
The
huge
problem-
structure.
The problem with Monster is Canada, I'm pretty sure they don't allow RMC to do their own work because they're not a Canadian company.
Yeah, you
They have
can't
to hire a separate company.
Yeah, you have to hire Canadian companies to do the work if
Gotcha.
the company's not in the country or something. Like it's some law.
That's
Typical
true, but that structure is massive.
Because if that's the case, I would want to see them to do that to Mindbuster because that thing is awful.
That's true. Let's see. Next up. How will the new Six Flags choose what should be their top, mid, and low tier parks? Oh, what their top, mid, and low tier parks should get in 2025. I think 25, each company, like Cedar Fair, whatever they had planned for 25, is still going to open and get built for 25. And Six Flags, whatever they had planned, will still get built and opened. And that'll be the year they start reevaluating and picking what's going to be different going forward. I imagine maybe there's a 2026 project here and there that's still planned and ready to go. But I think everything from 2027 on will be all from the merged company as opposed to the individual companies.
I concur.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting, though, thinking back to the interview with Salim, he said that by 2025, 2026, they're looking to have pretty much every park get a major new coaster. Now, in October, when that interview was filmed, he definitely knew about the merger. So that makes me wonder if that statement was forward-looking with the merger in mind, or if that was just his vision alone, not including what Zimmerman may or may not want.
Does that include like Kid Flash Cosmic coasters that just opened this year?
When he says major coaster, he means, if you remember, he called them hero rides, which are rides that are different than everything else, that stand out, that are like the El Toro of the park, the King Ka of the park, stuff like that.
Does that include Flash? Because that's a clone, technically.
No, Sammy. No.
Flash is not a hero coaster. Dr. Diabolical is a hero coaster. But he also called Aquaman a hero coaster, so I don't know.
But if you sign a big enough contract and get it far enough development, then you'll see that stuff will go to 2025, 26. Because it
Yeah.
takes 2 to 3 years for all this planning and everything.
Yep.
Unless
One
you're doing Flash, that takes it less than a year.
Well,
One thing I saw somebody make a question about in the comments was about Railblazer. And now that the merger has gone through, do we think a lot of stuff's going to end up going to Discovery Kingdom instead to save money on travel and things? I could easily see Railblazer going there, and some of the things that they don't have an invert there, right? So they could take what
They
you
have
call it there.
Kong.
I've heard Discovery
Oh
Kingdom
God, my least favorite coaster of all time. No,
It's not that bad.
I've heard Discovery Kingdom might be on the cut list for if they get rid of parks.
I hope not, because I mean they did so much. Like it was so night and day going there this time around. How much nicer it was than the last time I was there. And they
It would make
treated us
no
obviously
sense
real well.
for them to cut it, because then they have nothing in the Northern California market. Nothing.
Yeah, I don't see
makes
that
no
happening.
sense.
It would also be kind of weird though, because like they have all these like hero rides, and they'd have to like rebrand them.
What do you mean?
Like they have like Justice League rides.
Yeah, well, they're keeping the branding.
No, I'm saying if they were to sell it off.
Oh, well, yeah. There's a good portion of that park that's DC.
it's not that hard to
I just don't see
Might
that
not be
happening.
good,
Like,
but they could retheme it.
I think now a lot of the stuff, if they move it from CGA, will stay in the California parks.
Yeah, I'd say so. Let's see. Lots of odd stuff in the chat here. See if I can find a real question.
Yeah, Sammy has to say something, doesn't he?
Oh, well, he did that already. Are we ever going to see Movietown and Metropolis combined to make a big DC universe? I don't know why they haven't yet. I know at one point on one of the park maps that was on there, you could see the little DC universe portal. And I'm not sure why it didn't wind up going through. I think they wound up sending ours to either Discovery Kingdom or New England, and then we just didn't get it. Because I still think Movietown is a really dumb name for an area. I just call it Gotham, and then I call the other area Metropolis. But I do think just making it one collective DC universe and maybe having like subsections of like Gotham and then Metropolis would be a little better. But then having Metropolis with no super pin ride there is kind of weird too. So I don't know. I just think Movietown could definitely use some sprucing up, especially by the Sun Arena. Sun Arena, I always thought was kind of an eyesore. I know they need it there, because they've gotten rid of they're working on getting rid of the Northern Star Arena. So that's kind of their only event space other than Showcase. So I just hope they can do something with it to make it a little better. And then, of course, Metropolis is going to look much better next year with the new Flash Plaza. So I guess we'll see.
Well, Metropolis has always looked good.
But yeah, Metropolis has always been a really nice area. There's no trees, unfortunately, but it looks nice other than that.
It used to have so many trees when Justice League opened.
Well, I mean, like the giant
Like
concrete
2017.
in front of Justice League. There's no spots for trees or anything. It's all concrete. And I think they had that same issue with Jersey Devil, too, with the majority of the plaza just being a giant plot of concrete. Oh, Sammy's gone. And I think they're trying to remedy that now with Flash, because you can see in the blueprints that they have open areas in the middle of the path with spots for trees, which I think is a really good move. And he's back. Sammy, what I was saying was Jersey Devil, they made the same mistake with not really having much room for trees in the plaza. But it looks like they're trying to remedy that with Flash. They have a lot of room for trees and whatnot.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying.
Do you think Great Adventure will eventually have to bite the bullet and fully retrack El Toro? Probably. Colossus had to do it. Baldur had to have the majority of it retracked. I'm sure.
I think they'll look at financially, is it worth it to retrack it, or is it worth it to spend that money on something else in that spot? Unfortunately,
I think they'd be crazy to get rid of it.
I agree, but money talks too.
From a financial standpoint too. I mean, that was a $25 million ride when it opened. So do the math with inflation. That's even more now. They've put millions into it over the years of refurbishments and whatnot. The structure itself is in fine shape. It's just the track, which at the end of the day, you can replace the track and get another, I don't know, 15, 20 years out of it with repairs along the way. I think that's a much better investment than ripping the whole thing down, which is going to cost a lot, and starting from scratch, which is going to cost even more.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to bite the bullet and do some kind of, and not in-house it. Like, hey, 6 carpenters, you're doing a job, but they really need it done through Intamin to have that prefab done.
Yeah.
Isn't T Express getting redone for next year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Toro is due. We'll put it that way.
Bacon Chris has arrived in the chat, Colin.
Welcome to the chat, Bacon Chris.
Oh, that was like an hour ago, though. I just seen it now, though.
Oh well.
Hope he's still here.
When can we expect Flash to open? I would say probably, well, I would say they're shooting for Memorial Day, which is what they shoot for with everything. Jersey Devil wound up being about a week late after Memorial Day. So honestly, it just depends on how fast they're able to get it up over the off season. That'll be what is the deciding factor. I think June is pretty likely though. So we'll see.
July 4th weekend.
I hope not. That's a little late.
No,
But imagine they opened it on July 1st, 50 years.
That
would be better.
That would be
open
really
it on July 1st. But I don't see that opening until July.
Like
Hollywood Nights over Hollywood Nights. I couldn't agree more. If you've been to Hollywood Nights, you know it's the real deal.
Yeah, next year we're doing a big Hollywood Nights. It's on June 11th, and it's going to be on Barnstormer. It's been crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. Who's your main in Super Smash Brothers? I think the majority of them don't play it.
I haven't played it since like the original one, like 20 years ago.
I had it on 64, N64.
Yeah, me too.
And that was Donkey Kong. But I haven't touched that thing in years.
I don't play that much, but I would take Banjo.
Okay. I would take Captain Falcon.
Well, we got a super chat, I think.
Oh, we got a super chat. Hold on, guys. Take a pause.
We need Tom
Thank you,
with the
John.
horn.
Just spare the fourth for the super chat. Hey, Colin, not sure if you saw my message. I'm making my way through the chat. Once I find it, I will get up to it, but I'm pretty backed up in the chat here. So once I find it, I'll get there. I think I'm coming. Yeah, I'm pretty close to it. So we'll get there in probably a couple minutes. Let's see. Actually, I'll just skip to it now real quick for you, John. So March 16th and 17th is opening day. Great way to start the 50th anniversary season. They should have a St. Patrick's Day festival then. That'd be really cool, but I feel like them investing in decorations they've never done before would probably not be in the budget with all the 50th stuff going on. It'd be really cool, but I don't know if they'll be able to squeeze it in. What do you guys think? I know, Brian, you love St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, yeah. And knowing, it's not going to happen. Just knowing other factors. Plus, being opening weekend, they're not, like, if they had an extra week to have, like, all right, let's do, like, a 2-weekend event, they're not going to have put the time in to do a 1-day event type thing.
Yeah.
My birthday's March 18th, so I love that March 17th is like St. Patrick's Day. March 18th is my recovery day. But yeah, that would be pretty cool.
I like, too, that the park's opening this early because my birthday has never been aligned with the park being open. And this is the first year I can think of where my birthday weekend is Great Adventures opening weekend, which is pretty cool. Let's see. Twisted Colossus or Twisted Timbers? They're neck and neck. I would have to take Timbers ever so slightly.
Yeah, I agree.
Timbers.
Oh, Timbers all the way.
Sammy? Sammy's gone.
Sammy.
Are the slides at Hurricane Harbor going to be built? As far as I know, they're up. So they'll be open for 2024. You think there will be a cutoff / closing date for ordering bricks? Yes. I wish I knew the date. I'm going to try to find out. I would think probably no later than like February, January-ish.
Just order them now. Don't wait.
Yeah, I would order them now.
Great Christmas gift.
I've started my compilation of your Barnstormer clips, by the way, Colin. I cannot wait to see that because I know there's a ton of them. Where is Ace? Ace is busy currently. Oh, Sammy's back.
I'm back.
Oh my God, Sammy.
Turn my camera so it's better. Yeah.
What's with the wire?
300.
Will they be keeping the parachutes till next year, or will they be getting rid of them in the off season? I think they will be coming down over the off season. There's a reason they closed the boardwalk so early. That's the way I'm looking at it.
I would say coming down.
Brian, put on a backwards cap.
No. And plus, I don't have a hat in where I am right now.
With the new Six Flags coming, what do you want to see improved from Six Flags parks, similar to what the Cedar Fair parks are getting at the moment?
I mean, I want to see Cedar Fair do better theming like Six Flags does.
You're saying Six Flags does better theming than Cedar Fair?
If you take knots out of it, Cedar Fair's theming is shit. They'll give a ride like a theme, but they don't stick with anything, and they don't have a storyline to anything. They abandon the like Steel Vengeance Forbidden Frontier crap after like a year and a half. Like,
True.
I mean, I get that like Six Flags has built-in theming by using the DC stuff a lot of the time, but they also have other stuff as well that goes with it. They at least try to. It's like Cedar Fair just doesn't care about theming if you're not knots.
Fair. Although I think Blue Ridge Junction at Carowinds and Area 52 or whatever it's called at Kings Island, they're pretty well done.
Yeah,
compared to
Mystic
what
Timbers
Six
too is pretty
Flags
good.
parks. What, Sammy?
Mystic Timbers.
Yeah, Mystic Timbers. Iron Menace is pretty big. Let's see. What's everyone's thoughts on Expedition Equinox?
Wow.
What is that?
Yeah, what is that?
What do you mean? What is that?
I don't know what that is.
You got to tell us.
Excuse me.
It's
A Chevy Equinox, the car? I
is
don't
it
know
a
anything about
backyard coaster?
Oh, it's
I-
the. Oh my God.
I thought you were kidding. Oh my god.
Sorry, Sammy. That's Sammy's new backyard coaster.
Technically, it's Grant's.
Well, you're building it.
What? Yeah.
Like above board this time, so there's no issues.
I mean, Pennsylvania's a little bit different, but hopefully, yeah.
Oh, okay, it's not in your backyard now.
No, it ain't in my backyard.
I got you.
Yeah.
He's just breaking laws
It
in
looks
every
like-
state.
Black Stallion with a second hill. So.
Oh, is it gonna go
Yeah,
back?
but the second hill's taller.
And a turntable.
And
Yeah,
a turntable.
Get the turntable.
2 people per
And the
row.
bank turn, the off-axis airtime hill, wave turn.
Oh, Sammy, is it gonna go
Yeah.
backwards?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, like the train, like Black Stallion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sorry for asking too many questions. Don't worry about it. I love the questions. What kind of theming are you hoping to see in the Flash? Dr. Diabolical with the pre-show or something like Poltergeist? After seeing the blueprints, I don't think there's much room for in-queue theming. To me, the only way we're going to see a lot of in-queue theming is if there winds up being a building for the queue, not just like a shading structure, but an actual building. If that winds up being the case, then I could see a pre-show maybe or something along those lines. I think they need something to make the queue line interesting for that ride because they know the line is going to be long. And honestly, when you look at the queue space they have, it's not very big.
Mm.
And considering that it only has one train, I think they probably should have made it a little bigger. Yeah, I mean, looking at this again, you have the locker structure, you have one little shade area, then you go around, you have another little building, and then you go up to the station. So, I don't know. I hope it doesn't have the Wonder Woman issue where it always overflows, but we'll see.
I have a feeling it's going to overflow.
It's gonna overflow for sure.
Yeah.
It definitely does not seem like a lot of Q, unless they're really packing you in with zigzags.
But I think they're doing the smart method where it's like it's gonna look like it overflows, but it's really not that long, and then everyone's gonna go to Cyborg.
I don't think they're going to get people to ride Cyborg.
They will get people to ride Cyborg. It
Mm.
literally runs behind it. It's gonna look so cool.
People will just ride it on accident. They'll think, "Oh, I thought I was in line for Flash."
Yeah.
With the big Cyborg sign.
People don't.
Hey, they're not that smart.
You both, two of you are employees. You know people don't read signs.
Yeah. You were an employee. They're probably did they
I
change?
was an employee.
Brian
I
was.
was an employee. No one read signs.
Oh,
Yeah. No
No
one.
one pays attention. I remember one time working Screen Machine, and boyfriend and girlfriend got in the front row, and then she's looking up because the front row, you looked at the two loops. Wait, this goes upside down? The boyfriend's like, yeah, what were you doing for the half hour we waited in line? Oh, I didn't think this was that.
Yep.
Super chat.
Hang on, guys. We got another super chat. Thank you, John, again
with
for the
the
super
horn.
chat. Really appreciate it. Thank you again. The parachutes will most likely be coming down by a giant crane. So when do we see the merger closing next year? I think the merger is going to close Q1 for sure. They're going to get it buttoned up as quick as they can.
I don't think we're going to see anything happen though until way
No.
later.
Nothing's going to happen until 25.
25, 26 is when you'll see stuff change.
Yeah. Definitely. A Vekoma for Great Adventure in 25. It's a possibility, but I don't think it's going to be a Vekoma personally.
Coma tilt.
I wouldn't be against a tilt coaster.
No.
Something like Circuit Breaker would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it'll be something
big in there.
Yeah.
Get like you drop into a mine shaft or something.
But I think that's the thing they're going for with Quidia's Iron Rattler. Like you're going to drop into like a mine shaft because it's themed to Iron Rattler Mine Train. So I think that'll be cool. I feel like Dorney Park's Demon Drop is scarier than Zumanjaro, maybe because it looks like it'll fall over. Demon Drop is a much more intense ride. So saying it's more scary, I get it. It's an interesting ride. One of my favorite drop towers. And it's not a credit. Let's see. I already answered that. Let's see. Lots of repeats here. Can't wait to see the Flash videos after the planning board meeting on the 18th. Thanks to the coverage on the home park. Your new favorite coaster channel on YouTube. Well, thank you for that. I am very excited to make some Flash videos once they get started with construction. They're moving along with what they can do prior to getting the permits. They really can't do much yet. But once it's all approved and everything after the 18th, which is in 2 days, I think they'll be good to go. And now that we have the blueprints already, I'm not planning on doing a live stream during the planning board meeting. For one, I don't know if they stream it online, and I highly doubt it's going to be as entertaining as Dorney's with South Whitehall Township. That was entertaining, but I don't think. Yeah, the sidewalk. Because Great Adventure, I think they have a much better relationship with Jackson Township than Dorney does with South Whitehall. Just kind of looking from the outside in. I mean, if South Whitehall Township was giving them so much crap over a sidewalk when they were building a brand new coaster, meanwhile, Great Adventure pretty much does whatever they want, and Jackson always approves it. I don't think they're going to have an issue. Plus, Great Adventure is barely even in Jackson Township anyway.
Yeah, they're on the cusp. They don't have the best relationship because of traffic issues, and then when Chiller was there, they kept blowing the grid.
That's true.
So,
but
sure
the traffic issues is a combo of Ocean County and Monmouth County's issues. So I think that kind of goes to the counties being mad at each other.
But they still blame. Great Adventure gets the blame.
That's true. Let's see. We already answered that. What do you think about an RMC Hyper Hybrid at Great Adventure in place of Rolling Thunder? It makes no sense.
It makes so much sense.
It's too similar to El Toro.
And good point.
Yeah.
If it wasn't a Hyper Hybrid and it was just a regular hybrid like Twisted Colossus, then yeah. but it would dwarf Toro for no reason. So I say no.
No, I would do it like Wildcat Revenge height, or like something under a
Oh yeah,
hyper.
it would have like a truss lift. It wouldn't look anything like Toro.
Well, like 140, 130.
If it was a hyper,
All
though,
right.
I
Well,
would
no,
say
I would drop the hyper out of it. No, yeah, no, hyper doesn't make sense. But if you did an RMC hybrid in
Oh,
one
yeah,
Thunder
definitely.
spot,
What
that would
about a
work.
Giga hybrid?
Giga hybrid.
Yeah,
The
but
wood
I
would
wouldn't put
crack.
Giga right there. You're next to King Ka. That tower is going to look so small. You need to kind of like something.
Everything looks small next to King Ka.
But if you put
Yeah.
another big thing next to it, it's going to like shrink the tower.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they literally wanted to put a Giga back there anyway.
Well, rumored.
I'm not even saying this is realistic, but like the points like don't even make sense anyway. Like it could happen.
Anything is possible.
Rolling Thunder was a great choice. I still wish they built the Zumanjaro Q around it. Rolling Thunder had to be removed regardless, so it was either they RMC'd it or they tore it down, and the RMC was going to cost too much because the structure was too far gone.
Yeah, no, that ride needed maintenance.
Hurricane Harbor just put in the family slides that are going to open for 24. Other than that, there has been nothing announced. How long do you think Thunderhawk has left at Dorney? I don't think it's ever going to leave.
Yeah, I think it's safe.
They maintain that very well. That's They take a lot of pride in that ride.
Is there a chance of Over George's Ultra Surf opening in late May or early June? I'd say definitely. They already have supports on site and tracks probably not far off. It's a very, very small layout. And unless they run into issues with it being a prototype, I see no reason why it can't be open that early.
It's not even a prototype, kind of, because they've done them.
Yeah, it's just a glorified half pipe.
Yeah.
Sammy is one of the fastest ops I've ever seen. It legit startled me.
Ooh. Yeah, Aaron's slow.
Yeah, because I'm at
Devil.
Oh, forget it, bro.
Even a Nitro is slow.
How do you know?
What do you think of
I've seen
Nitro
them.
getting dark green supports and dark red track? No.
No.
I think I like the blue and gray that they're going for.
Although I kind of see what he's saying.
Yeah, I do. I think that whole area could use some work to just make it tie into a Pine Barrens theme better. Because
Yeah.
like you look at pictures from back before that area was really developed, like when Adventure Rivers was still there and when Nitro was first being built, it had a really nice look to it. Like it was a really like well themed area of the park. And then it kind of went downhill once Wiggles World came in and everything.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Someone in the chat said Sammy stapled them on Nitro 2 times in a row. So
Who said that?
Matt.
My bad. It's like,
You good off?
yeah, so you don't want to be stapled.
Yeah, if you see Sammy, make sure you yell at him
Yeah.
for not being fast enough. Hot take, Lake Compounds is a good park. They just spend their money on stuff that isn't needed. They don't really have much money to spend because they're a very small park in a not gigantic chain. So whenever they get something, it's a pretty big deal. It's a good park for what it is. Not my favorite. Boulder Dash, overrated. It's good, but not like amazing. Let's see. Sammy, will you have to go to the planning board to get approval for the new coaster?
I mean, I know Pennsylvania's had an issue with sidewalks, but luckily there are no sidewalks in this coaster. So, I guess.
How do you walk to the ride?
What?
How do you walk to the ride then?
It's in the woods.
Stepping stones?
Stepping stones.
Sammy, are you going to work at the park again next year?
Yeah. There's a lot of Sammy questions in here. I don't like this.
Aaron, are you going to work at the park again next year?
For sure. I'll definitely
He's
be
not.
at Toro. Sammy's
He will
gonna
not be.
Yeah.
Is the ride op is on his or her phone a Six Flags thing or something that only plays over Georgia?
Oh,
I have
Can't be
never
on your
seen it
phone.
at any park in the past 2 years. The only time I saw it was at Six Flags America a few years ago.
you know
It's a
what
flyer.
Studios said about Six Flags America.
Well, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, that's not a Six Flags thing. Six Flags takes their ride operations very seriously.
now they do. Wait, I think that was referencing a Coast Studios video where Matt Maz his leg flap on Superman wasn't like
Oh,
in.
yeah.
And Taylor Bybee was like they were on their phone as they were dispatching the train.
Yeah. That's a rough one.
Mm-hmm.
They did that at Mount Olympus when I was there.
Yeah.
That's fun. Great Adventure ever bring back Enterprise? So, as far as I know, there were plans for them to get an Zamperla Endeavor after Cyborg and Wonder Woman that would go where Flash is on that the other side next to Justice League, and they kind of build that area out with flats. I think there's definitely still a chance for it to happen, but we'll see. You think instead of the parachutes getting removed, they use the tower, make it look like the original hot air balloon? I think it's going to get removed, so no. But that would be a pretty cool idea.
I think we'll see a hot air balloon next year somewhere in some way.
Definitely.
Oh, for sure, they're going to use a hot air balloon somewhere. It would be nice to use that tower, but it's coming down.
Yeah. Let's see where to next. I came for Ace and I am disappointed. Congrats on 12K, I guess. Well, sorry, Lucan. What are 2 non-coaster rides you'd like to see come back in some form at Great Adventure? An Enterprise. And I don't know.
I want to see them rebrand. What is it? Swashbuckler to Super Round of 3.
Drop the 3, and I agree with you.
But it was 1 and 2, so now it's 3. I think that'd be cool.
I hate numbers on rides.
Top Thrill 2.
X.
I would say Mach 1. Bring back Mach 1.
Tornado 3.
Yeah, I want to see something with the right stuff. But then it's just such a cool name.
Yeah. Well, if they ever decide to retheme Superman, you can make that like the right stuff and make that an airport. Like if you retheme,
I
take the
think, yeah,
superheroes
that
out
whole back area should be an Air Force Base theme.
of it.
Yeah.
Green Lantern should be called Shockwave, and Superman should be called Mach 1.
The right stuff.
the
You
right
got to put
stuff.
the right stuff in there.
But yeah,
That's got to be part of it.
Mach 1, the right stuff. That'd be pretty cool.
and then they can
yeah.
put a better Superman ride over in Metropolis.
And you put a nebulizer, you put all the other little fun flat rides around it, and make it a little Air Force.
Exactly. Let's see. Sammy should build a Rolling Thunder replacement.
Yeah, no. A lot of Sammy questions tonight.
Intimate hot racer for Great Adventure. I'll let you guys answer this. I gotta run and grab some water.
But we
What?
already have Jersey
We
up.
already have the best Raptor ever.
No.
Yeah, there's no point to it. No point to it.
It would wait. I guess it would be launched.
It doesn't matter. It's the same idea.
Is this the part where we talk shit on Colin while he's not here?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
no,
the
we
part where
at
you
least
don't say
say that
shit
we do.
live stream. Oh wait.
No,
Somebody find another
there's
question
no
in
hot
the chat.
racer needs to be a Great Adventure. If you put a real dueling coaster in.
Put a nice wooden dually.
Like Lightning Racer.
Although I think they should gut Skull Mountain and then put like Dark Coaster in there, and then it shoots at the back and goes along the water and call it Escape from Skull Mountain.
Yeah, you
Go
thought.
down, the adventure continues.
The adventure continues.
because that's getting up there. But that mountain, that they need to redo. That building is falling apart.
Oh yeah, apparently if they touch it, it's like gonna explode or something. I don't.
Well, they need to
Skull Mountain?
re-side it. They need to, Skull Mountain needs to be.
Oh, that
completely
building is so
re-
decrepit. If they touch it, it's gonna fall over.
The actual bare bones of it is, but it's all the other stuff that needs to be.
Yeah, it would be a whole thing to. But it's like, what would you want to replace Skull Mountain with at that point, though?
If you could just rip the side off and reface it to another mountain, just make the mountain over.
Yeah, but it's like if that
Spend the
building
money
has to
into
come
it.
down, they'd have to rebuild the building. What would you put there?
No, last I heard that the actual structure of it, it's just the siding and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think they should just I don't think they have to tear down the whole building, but I think just redo the whole thing, put a new coaster in there.
Well, how old is that? That's probably coming up on its life anyway.
Yeah, I mean, what I think they should do
Was
is take Chop 6.
96, 98 when that was built?
What?
When was Skull Mountain? 98, 96?
Something like that. 99.
99.
No, 99 was the big, that was Medusa and Looney Tunes Seaport and everything.
Right?
No, I swear. Let me look it up.
99 was the big year when they put Medusa and the Seaport went in.
96.
Oh,
was
96.
Yeah.
So that's up there in age.
Yep.
What I think they should do is they should take the Chop 6 that's next to it and move Chop 6 somewhere else, turn that into an adventure outpost, with a pre-show and everything, and then you go into the mountain and Dark Coaster and it shoots at the back.
Well, maybe when they merge, we'll see what happens.
Exactly.
Because right now they're not putting they're not really double downing on all that theming.
Well, Flash is supposed to be pretty good.
We'll see. It's probably going to be all the cutouts again.
I don't know.
Are we allowed to say anything, Sammy?
I'll keep my mouth shut for the live stream.
Where the hell did Colin go to get water? Ace's house? What?
I don't know. I have water and everything. I set up. I'm like, all right, let me put a bottle of water. Let me put my drinks, whatever. Where?
Eating a pint of ice cream, probably.
Yeah, literally.
He probably went to go take a shit. Let's do this.
Let's move on to the next question, guys.
Yeah, I don't know. We gotta scroll all the way back. Oh, there we go. Let's see.
Wait, you can do that? I didn't.
Yeah. Why is Dark Knight Ride have their train horn working and other stuff inside the ride? Everything works at Six Flags Great
Hang
America.
on, Jack. Stop talking shit about it.
Oh, I
Yeah,
can
I'm back.
that. I'm trained at Dark Knight. I can.
All
Okay.
right, go for it.
So the horn broke I don't know 1 year ago, 2 years ago, and the crew or all the everyone in the area doesn't want it fixed because it was really annoying. So maintenance just hasn't touched it. They replaced it with rumbling of the thing. So it's just broken.
Good.
The maintenance is union. It is a union maintenance team.
Yeah. It's just really
Let's see. Who's Aaron?
Yeah, who's Jingles?
You don't know Jingles, then you are nothing. Then if you don't know him,
Chat. It's very weird how that happens.
Do you think Six Flags will build a crazy mouse or replace any crazy mouse? Wait.
What?
Do you think?
I think
I'm guessing it's supposed to say a wild moose to replace with a crazy mouse or wild mouse. No, I don't. I really, honestly, I don't think the wild moose model is really going to take off. I'd be surprised.
I could see it taking off to a park that doesn't have a wild mouse.
Yeah.
Or one how Tampa just took theirs out. If they're oh, we still want another family coaster similar, then they'll contact RMC.
True. I just think it's a little gimmicky.
Well, we'll see. I'm sure one park will build it and then see how the reaction is.
True. Why do ride ops staple riders before dispatching the train? Aaron and Sammy.
People try to get too much space.
As RMC said on Twitter, that you're technically not supposed to get room. It's supposed to be 4 points of contact theoretically, but some of us are nice, but when people aren't nice, they don't get the benefit. They don't get the reward.
Or they're just a bigger person and they need their restraint on more.
Yeah,
Happens a lot. Yeah.
RMC also said that the restraints are not designed to be shoved into you either.
yeah, but we don't shove them. We put it down to
Matt stapled the shit out of me on Nitro, and like to the point where I was in pain.
Yeah.
That sounds like a skill issue.
I think that operators who staple for the sake of just stapling are doing more damage than those that let people have a ton of room.
Hey,
I think-
your dad was
I think
nominated
you
for an
should be
Academy
right on,
Award
Colin,
for
and
getting
then you should
stapled.
show
I
us
don't
how
want to hear
stapling
this.
is.
Stapling, like I had one really like the worst experience I ever had with it was in 2017 on Nitro. An employee who I will keep anonymous stapled me harder than I ever had been, and I was much smaller back then. So my feet, I couldn't feel them because the blood was being cut off because the clamshell was that tight around my thighs that it was worse than anything I'd ever felt on like Skyrush. I was crying when she did it. And by the time I came back to the station, that was it. I couldn't ride anything for the rest of the day after that. It ruined the day. So operators, while you don't need a foot of room, you also shouldn't be in there so tight that you can't feel yourself.
Skill issue.
You think that affected your height?
It might have. Very well
I
might
think
have.
it's growth. I don't know. When I was an opera, granted I was at Superman, but
Do you think that affected your
Time we-
viz?
All right, Sammy. Next up,
the only time we
do
ever
y'all think?
like,
Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
no. You continue
No,
on.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
I don't want to
yeah.
interrupt. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm done.
Okay. All right. Do y'all think they should just rebrand all the non-hero coasters in Movie Town into DC themed coasters like they did with Medusa / Bizarro, and just build Metropolis that way? Yes.
Wait, I'm confused on the question.
Should they re-theme all the coasters and rides that are DC themed that aren't in Movie Town, and then just make everything DC in Movie Town?
Yeah, unless I think it would be cool if like they got like what's Fiesta Texas getting, like the Metropolis Transit thing. If they had
And
to go
do
over,
it over the entrance.
if they had to
to-
go over the
yeah.
entrance over to Superman and Green Lantern, it should be kind of cool.
And then just re-theme Joker and Harley Quinn, called Joker Total Mayhem and Harley Quinn Blackbeard.
I think Joker is almost fine on its own. Like it's fine in its own little area over there.
I would have rather seen Total Mayhem, but
Yeah, but it's like you have the villains and it's like they're away from the heroes. Like it's kind of like I don't know.
Wow.
I think
Wow.
you just double down and make that whole area circus.
true. Hey Colin, are you going to the park next weekend? I can't say for sure as of yet, but we'll see. Oh boy, do you think Falcon's flight? I'm guessing you meant is going to kill people because of how tall it is. It has a 600-foot drop. It's going to make your blood go to your feet instead of. Intamin is in charge of this project. It wouldn't be getting built if the G-force limits exceeded what humans are allowed to have. And going up 400 feet, 600 feet, it doesn't matter. You're still in the same atmosphere. So I think you'll be just fine.
I don't know. Sounds pretty dangerous.
I know. All that wind, all that
It could be
G-force.
great.
What
The
is-
whole drop down, slowing you down. Like you don't know what your acceleration rate's going to be.
Let's see. Yes, we talked about Top Thrill 2 earlier in the stream. Sammy should protest to change Tango into Sammy's spinning boat.
I will let everybody else in this discussion vote on that because I don't have a vote.
If not, someone next season go there with cardboard and a Sharpie and put it over the sign.
Yeah. Sammy's spinning boat. And they'll keep Sammy at Tango.
New England could use a hot racer. They could use a Raptor even more. I think the hot racer is kind of just like the weaker Raptor.
No, it looks better,
No. That's because you're a hater on the Raptors.
but they
I love the
launch
Raptors.
and, like it's a lap bar.
Sammy, you've been on one Raptor, and I've been on 4, and I love all 4 of them.
I don't care.
So, just putting that out there.
Thanks, Colin.
How do you get into enthusiast events / groups? So enthusiast events, it depends on the club. Typically, you do have to be a member of a coaster club. So you have American Coaster Enthusiasts, of course. That's the most popular one. There's Coaster Crew. There's Great Ohio Coaster Club, which Bob is the president of. There's Buzz Bars. There's a whole bunch of other ones. There's a lot. But the two big ones are Ace and Coaster Crew. So typically they will host the event. You'll sign up through their website, and you'll go to the park. You get ERT usually, a meal. It depends on the event. But they're a really good way to meet people that have the same interests as you. That's how I made a lot of friends that I have just from going to the parks. Not necessarily all from enthusiast events, but they're a good place to hang out with people that have the same shared interests as you. So I highly recommend them if you're just starting to get into the coaster community.
Yeah, I met
Don't
Colin because he was
don't-
getting mad at a ride on.
Don't blindly pick one though. Look at where you're at geographically and how far you plan to travel and things like that. Because, like, for instance, Ace is everywhere, but like they do crap for events in like Ohio, for instance, where I'm at, and things like that. And Coaster Crew does certain things, certain places, and some of the other ones do certain things, certain places. So look at that too if you're going to join one.
And I personally, if you're doing like a trip and you want to incorporate an enthusiast event on your trip, I wouldn't. I think your better bet is to do an enthusiast event for a park you've been to multiple times already, or that is your home park. That way, like, you're not competing for, say, rides or good seats with other people on rides that you're only going to be able to ride a couple of times versus rides you ride all the time anyways. That's a suggestion from me. I think you should definitely keep in mind. What would be a good coaster to pay homage to Great American Scream Machine? I honestly think a mock striker coaster, because they have a ton of inversions, a ton of crazy elements. I think that'd be really cool. Or an S&S coaster in the style of Steel Curtain.
I concur.
I would like to
Or
see
even
a
a
Vekoma like
Vekoma
super
looping.
coaster.
A what?
Like a Vekoma more like on the lines of Let Coaster.
Yeah, on a bigger scale though.
Yeah, on a much bigger scale.
Let's see. Coaster do you guys like better? El Toro. By far.
Elport.
Olay.
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 Olay. Let's see. I staple on Superman because it's Superman. Getting stapled on Superman is one of the most painful experiences I have ever had.
Yeah, it's
Don't do
good.
it.
Zach's so well. We
There's
don't
no
know.
reason for it.
There's no reason.
Gay pool guy. He's just in the bro.
Yeah.
There is
Actually,
no reason to
I think it
staple
was my
Superman.
last ride on Superman for 2023. I got stapled really bad to the point where I was struggling to breathe, which is not fun. And then we got stuck on the brake run because they were stacking, and that's even less fun. So, yeah.
It's a former ride on and there's no reason to do that.
No, there really isn't. As long as it's touching, it, granted, it doesn't have to necessarily touch you. I mean, I wasn't trained, of course, but as far as I know, as long as it looks secure and is not killing you with tightness, I think you're fine. Probably off topic, but which ride at Great Adventure is fluffy friendly? Nitro typically is pretty accommodating. 2 point. Devil can
Well,
be.
the outside seats.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people who don't fit on Devil, don't fit on Nitro and El Toro.
El Toro is by far the least fluffy friendly.
Oh, King the Ka.
King the Ka is a struggle too sometimes because the
I always find it interesting the
I
people
usually
that
send
are
people from Toro to Devil.
the people that are fluffy are easier to fit on rides than big guys with huge upper bodies, muscular guys, because fluffy people could sometimes manipulate their body more than these built these dudes with huge chests, bodybuilder type chests and things. I always find that interesting.
It really depends on where your dimensions are. Like you said, with the
Right.
bodybuilder, you have broad shoulders, big shoulders. An over restraint is going to come. You're going to touch here, and it's going to not be able to come any closer because your shoulders are big.
Yep.
Someone that's more gut or whatever, you can kind of shift and get it down to that last click. It really,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's tough to say what's fluffy friendly because you can maneuver it depending on what your dimensions are. You might have big thighs, or you might have a gut. But generally, it's Nitro and Devil kind of have. But it depends on where your dimensions are.
No,
Yeah, I mean, there's this guy. there was a guy the other day, like he was huge at Nitro, and I did not think he was gonna fit, and I got it to fit.
Devil is far more accommodating than I ever would have expected it to be. So
Yeah, especially with the 48-inch height limit. Like little
Yeah.
kids ride it, and then like the biggest guy in the world rides it.
Colin, did you see Ryan working today? Shockingly, I did.
He
He
worked.
actually worked.
He
I
worked.
did. Cyborg. And Ryan, shout out to you for helping me with the wheelchair on the platform. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Question for Brian, Sammy, Colin, and Bob. Wow, you just really do not like Aaron. What is a dream coaster to work?
Even Sammy? Wait, you're asking yourself, Sammy?
That's not me.
Why whatever you type. Yeah,
I'm I'm from McBottom or something like that.
okay.
Maybe Toro, honestly, just for like the fact that, you know, I've ridden it so many times and all that.
I think
I
Velocicoaster would be cool because like the restraint system's
universal
easy to
coaster.
work. It's air conditioned. It's like I think that would be real easy to work.
Yeah, I'd want to do Velocicoaster, honestly.
Velocicoaster seems fun.
I think Sammy wants to do Medusa.
No, I'll just kill myself.
What about you, Brian?
I would say Velocicoaster or Time Traveler even.
Oh yeah.
I feel like
Time
time travel
travel.
though, because the restraints come down automatically. You don't have to do it. So I don't know.
Exactly.
It's like hit
Colin, you just don't like it because you got screamed at by that lady.
Every Silver
I
Dollar
would
City
do
employee
Superman
was the
again.
nicest
Superman
person
was
I
such
ever
a
met,
fun
except for her.
You called her a bitch as we left the station and she heard you.
Moving on.
Colin getting
What
called
should they
out.
do with the lake at Grid Adventure? An Aquaman coaster over it would be cool. I don't think they're going to do anything with that. I think they're going to let its natural beauty stay.
I think a
They
train over.
used that for fireworks and stuff.
Yeah.
Sammy canceled the train, I thought.
Although at one point a wing coaster was planned to go over part
Where
of it.
Joker is.
Yeah, it would be Joker, the stadium, and which is now an empty plot of land or whatever.
The next question's really interesting.
Yes, it is.
What is it next?
Colin, you should start your
Not
own
that one.
Hollywood club. I have put thought into it. Definitely have. I know there's a lot of people who have started their own coaster clubs, like CJ. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with him. He has CJ's Crazy Coaster Crew. I don't know. I mean, personally, I feel like running the events, you kind of lose a lot of the fun. So I don't know if that would really be for me, but it's definitely something I'd consider in the future.
This is the question. to talk about.
Do you think we'll see more franchise food places when the mergers go through?
That's
What do you
tough
think?
because the Cedar Fair parks were getting rid of them. It seemed like, and the Six Flags parks still have a bunch. So this is a really tough question.
I can say Chick-fil-A is probably coming back to Cedar Fair and Six Flags parks.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know.
I can see them going away from it because it's just that's money out of they got to pay toward a license. You can make your own branding and save some money.
The only one I see, because Cedar Point got rid of everything except for Panda and except for Starbucks, and I don't think Starbucks is going anywhere.
Wait, they got rid of the Chick-fil-A?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's gone at Cedar Point.
Well, like Hershey Park's Chick-fil-A is like super successful. Like it always has a line.
Except
Well,
for Sundays.
The one at Cedar Point did too, but I think it's just a money thing.
Yeah.
And Hershey Park has so much better food options, though. I like the food at Hershey's good. So I don't.
Yeah.
Why you'd go to a chain there? I don't see. I don't know.
All right, next up. Hot take. Darien Lake is the worst Six Flags park in the chain. I haven't been there, but I don't think so.
I agree in the sense that it has the most potential that's completely wasted. They have tons of land. They have, I've said this before on these streams, they have tons of land. They have like the concert venue. They have the campground. They have so much potential there, and they do absolutely nothing with it. They don't take care of their coasters for crap. It's just really frustrating. In terms of like the worst park, depending on what your idea of worst is, though, I don't know about that one.
I haven't been, so can't really say.
Yeah, I can't really have much of an opinion on it. Next up, what do you think about changing the entire right side of the park from Joker, renaming it Total Mayhem, and making it a haunted themed area, including Jersey Devil and a refurbishment of Skull Mountain? That'd actually be really cool. I think if Skull Mountain had like the theming on the level of Poltergeist at Fiesta Texas in the station, and it carried through the entire ride, that could be really cool. And Jersey Devil, I mean, the haunted theme is definitely there. It's not really used, but I could definitely see them, if they really wanted to, enclosing the queue of Devil and putting like scare effects in there. That would be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
Just turn Skull Mountain into a haunted mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did that end last time?
Reface it.
Well, yeah, it's
Well, not
true.
that kind of like. I guess they never would do it because there's too much negative with the name.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about bad homage. That's
Yeah.
number one.
I'm gonna see if Velocicoaster beats my number one, Wildcat's Revenge. It's gonna be tough to beat because it was insane.
You bet on
Wildcats-
Zoro though,
Velocicoaster
Really good.
is also insane.
but you
Yeah,
bet on
Velocicoaster
Zoro.
blows my mind.
I can see. I don't think it'll beat Wildcat. Doesn't for me, but
But he's
I'm
been
not
on
gonna
for
say yet,
Wildcat
because
is number
My
one.
top 25 countdown's still going on. Colin, were you at the park today? Yes, I was. Don't worry, we all hate Aaron. Maybe you do. I don't.
honestly, this is the first time me meeting him, so I don't really
I
have
do.
any
I hate
problem
Aaron
with it.
Brett.
I didn't watch the stream, but do you have any news regarding the 50th? Nothing new. Pretty much the same stuff. I'd imagine the 50th celebration is probably going to start Memorial Day weekend. And of course, there will be a big event on July 1st, 2024, which is exactly 50 years later from the opening day of Great Adventure. I don't see a reason for it or against it. I could see a lot of Intamins and Vacomas, though.
I can see Vacoma taking over right now.
Man, Phil would be really happy to see a bunch more Gerslauers, wouldn't he?
My biggest issue with Gerstlauer, and I know my dad agrees, is majority of their thrill coasters just get ridiculously rough.
Yep.
Which ruins the rides completely. Like Shellraiser, excellent layout, unbearably rough.
That ruined my entire day when I was out there with you guys.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't ride a single thing that night. After we left and we went to Great Adventure, I didn't ride a single thing because I had such a bad headache the rest of the day.
Yeah, even
You're
hang
weak.
time wasn't that smooth.
I don't think we're gonna work with Gerstlauer.
I don't see a reason for it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Question for Aaron. Can you work Superman with me?
No, Sammy, you're not even trained there, so
It's not even me.
sure.
I make bottom something.
When do you think the first shipment of track for Flash will come? We do know that there was a 15-piece shipment that arrived for Great Adventure on the 5th of December. Whether that's track, supports, other parts, we don't know. I would presume supports. So I would think track could probably come before January for sure. Hopefully.
Monday.
I would think track is there.
No.
I can confirm it is not there.
Okay, then. What coaster is going in after they demoed the stadium? Would it extend into the safari where they had the dinosaur walkthrough? It's probably going to be a coaster. It's probably going to be really big. And it's probably going to occupy that whole area back there. Do you think a new park chain will eventually be created from parks that either get sold off or leave their current chains?
That'd be interesting, actually.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, Colin's gonna buy a couple parks from this.
Hollywood Parks Incorporated.
But Hollywood is supposed to be a brand.
It can be whatever it wants to be. Let's see. Do you think they'll put the surf coaster trains on Lantern? No, definitely not. It's
No.
not designed for it. Should Great Adventure bring back Backwards Week? What is Backwards Week? If you mean it should ride backwards, yes. I'm still waiting for the day I can ride El Toro backwards.
Yeah.
I was thinking they should think the back car on top of it too should be backwards.
They should make Jersey Devil have the front half of the train forwards and the back half of the train backwards.
Yes.
That'd be cool.
That'd be demonic.
The back row on that would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do you think once the Skyway is done, they will get a new gondola system? Just an idea, but how about the ones you see? It's a ski resort. Well, it was also the company that did the Skyliner at Disney World, and I could definitely see them coming in and refurbing Skyway.
I think Skyway's going to be done when that's done. It's done. They're tearing it out.
I know Brian, the park president, has a big interest in Skyway and really likes it. And I imagine he would probably want to do whatever he could to save it, since it is one of very few park originals.
Mm-hmm. It's on its last leg, though, so I don't know.
Yeah. They want to refurbish it, is what I've heard.
I could definitely see a refurbishment. Is Hellcat at Clementon Park worth trying? If you do decide to try it, just brace yourself. That is I'd say the second roughest coaster I've ever been on.
Even with didn't it get some kind of retract though?
I haven't ridden it since 2017.
Titan, or it was Titan, wasn't it?
I think it was just regular track, but I haven't ridden it in 6 years, so I don't know.
Any thoughts, Sammy?
Is Hellcat at Clementon? I don't know. I don't care for it.
Okay.
It's pretty bad. Why did Great Adventure rename their free spin from Total Mayhem to Joker? I still never got the story of that. I think everyone
extra paint from.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't make sense. Actually, I guess it could to a point, but that's like a really cheap thing to do. I mean, they had to have had like the signage ready to go and everything. Like, there's no way they just pivoted last second like that. I don't know. I would like to know the actual reason behind it. You think Nitro will get decals added to the train since it looks a little bland right now? I think it looks fine. Let's see. Which area of the park has the most potential that can be fixed in the future?
Golden Kingdom.
Golden Kingdom and Frontier Adventures, in my opinion. And Pine Barrens could really be turned into something cool. How's the new project in Hurricane Harbor doing? As far as I know, the slides are up. So, should be a good sign. And guys, in approximately 20 seconds, I'm going to put the line in the chat to stop accepting questions. So get your last questions in the chat. Aaron, have you ever worked with Cam?
Yeah, I have once or twice. I remember, I think the first time it was like Jersey Devil went down and they sent me to Nitro and Cam was there and El Toro Ryan was there. He was riding and that was cool.
After my trip in January, I'm going to take some pictures when I'm there. Probably start an Instagram finally. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Hunter. I actually have an account to tag in the trip reports. King the Cobb backwards would be ridiculous. Probably not allowed.
Yeah, I don't think they would do that.
Great Adventure does not need an SNS compressed air launch coaster. They have King the Cobb, which is close enough. Do you think they will add a Captain America themed coaster? They do not have the rights to any Marvel characters, so no. Out of all the park originals, which will be the last one operating? Swashbuckler.
Air Jumbo.
Mine Train. What are you talking about?
Mine Train.
Yeah,
Mine
but-
Train's got some issues. I don't know.
It don't matter. They'll do whatever to keep it up.
That
Yeah.
ride they will keep running until the park goes down.
Either that or the carousel. There's no reason to get rid of the carousel.
There's a lot of grandfathered rides in that they're never going to get rid of. The
Yeah.
carousel, they can always just take it out and redo it. Like, nobody would
And
know.
the giant wheel too. There's no reason to get rid of that. They'll just keep refurbishing it.
Especially with the big refurb happening now. That's going to be here for years.
And I imagine Log Flume getting the big refurbishment. That's going to stick around for forever. Well, pretty much to me, the six original attractions minus Skyway are rides that have no reason to ever get removed. Let's see. Do you think Disney will ever get Universal level coasters? If they start taking a hit in attendance after Epic Universe opens and Universal Orlando expands, they're going to have to figure something out.
There's no way they're not going to. And once Epic Universe, that's checkmate to Disney.
Yeah.
They're going to have to do something, either another gate, another park, or something. They got to do something big.
Yeah, definitely. Hang on, I just got to fix this real quick. There we go. Bob, what coaster is that on your wall? Looks like Diamondback, right?
That would be Diamondback, yeah. That was the first like big picture that like went viral for me. That kind of started my entire channel, or brand, I guess.
That's a really good picture. Adding to the haunted themed areas, the right side of the park, they could add a haunted themed GCI like Wicker Man or Infinity Coaster or Dive Coaster in the open area next to Jersey Devil. Well, that open area, most of it is also occupied by Congo, and I think a haunted themed Rapids ride would be unreal, especially at night. Let's see.
I wish Congo was better. I'd totally ride it more during the summer, like at night especially.
I agree. Which Six Flags parks can benefit from a mini B&M dive?
New England?
America,
America.
I like Great America.
Georgia, St. Louis, New England, maybe.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah,
of them
New
can
England.
definitely benefit from it.
What about Discovery Kingdom? I think that would help them.
Yeah, that would work there too. What would you like to see them do to the Golden Kingdom next? Tear down the water play structure that's been sitting there for 6 years. Put a flat ride there. Put a mock power splash somewhere over there. And just restore the theming to what it used to be back in the day.
Oh, I say mock power splash, and you put the pool right where the play structure was, because you got infrastructure to plumbing right there.
Yeah.
That's true.
And when you walk up that path, you'd be looking right up at the spike.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
That'd be really cool.
What's the best time of year to go to Great Adventure? Either spring or early summer.
I always like the end of summer when Fright Fest is about to kick off.
It depends. I mean, I'm trying to think low crowd times. Spring usually is not bad. And if you catch the beginning of summer right, like right before school gets out, you're fine. But you also want to make sure all the additions are open. So probably like end of August.
I always thought after Fright Fest ends, it's like open for like a week or two.
You get those bonus days are great, but it's
Yeah.
always a little chilly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they were really cold this year.
Yeah. Sammy, why do you love Medusa?
Yeah. Why?
I don't know. Why do I? Sounds like an Aaron account.
No.
Now, Scarlett's been on the channel for a very long time. Let's see. What coaster do you think could be put in the place of the stadium? I think a tilt coaster could be really cool. I think the Kick could be really cool. I think a Blitz could be really cool. I think a Woody could be really cool as well, like a big GCI or something that goes through the woods. There's a lot of cool.
guy from IAPA.
Yeah, that's true. And the final question of the night: thoughts on Flash's capacity?
Amazing.
It says 890, and there's worse in the park.
Yeah.
There's definitely worse.
I think it would
there's,
be all right.
there's no shot that it's gonna happen. Like you would need me, Aaron, Luke, and like Christian
Vinny?
Bowers on that team
Oh,
to even like push a train under 90 seconds.
probably.
I do want to go back to this real quick because I just saw someone else said in the chat the figure 8 model from Intamin would be so cool. That thing looks sick.
hmm
But with that being said, that is it for all the questions on tonight's stream. This was a long one. We don't usually hit 3 hours, but we did. So I want to thank you all for hanging out. I want to thank you four for sticking through it. I know it was a long one, but it was a good stream. Had a good time. So we're going to go in order again. Just do one last little promotion of your Instagram accounts or whatever you want to promote. Start with Bob, then Aaron, Sammy, and Brian.
BK photo page mostly on Instagram, but across everything, I guess.
At Jersey Devil Aaron, Instagram and YouTube mainly. I did just get Facebook, so that's cool.
Built to thrill, everything.
Coaster Patrick guy, but I don't really go. But Ryan the Ride Mechanic, that's a really good channel.
Yes, it is. Well, guys, as we conclude tonight's live stream, if you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We got some great adventure content coming very soon. But with that being said, hope you all have a great night, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.